We will talk with Kent Swanson, kcsn.substack.com, KC Sports Network. We'll hang out with him in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll hear from the Chiefs today, Coordinator Day. Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, and whichever players may be at the podium or even in the locker room or agree to talk if they are in the locker room. We'll see with that coming up about an hour and a half from now. We will play a little sports or leisure today is presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 on the line to Johnny's Tavern to play some sports or leisure. That is in the 1 o'clock hour tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The Chargers and Raiders. Easton versus Aiden. That is the pitching and hitting matchup of the U7 tournament coming up this weekend at 3-2 West.
And man,
Johnson County 3-2.
You know that those parents are paying too much money for those kids to be on that team.
That guy's got 3 gloves. Right? That kid's got 3 gloves. Why? You know, he plays outfield and infield. He doesn't need 3 gloves. You know, it's not like he's a first baseman, catcher, and a pitcher. All right, that would make sense if he's got 3 different mitts.
Stay ready, so you don't have to get ready.
Like,
Holding all boy that. Easton and Aiden have so many batting donuts. They have so many donuts in that. They get different weights and everything.
Easton and Aiden tonight, and the Chiefs take on Bailey on Sunday at noon. So I tweeted out this morning. I said the Chiefs' next 4 quarterbacks are straight from Mrs. Schultz's first grade class.
That's exactly right.
You got Bailey, you got Aiden, you got Jake, and of course you got Easton.
Jake even fits because it's just the enduring.
From time to time, you get just a general regular name.
You get a Jake, a Jacob.
Kid's name's John.
But it's not Bailey, Aiden, Easton, and Butch. You know, like you've got a really specific vibe there.
That's exactly right. If Jake's name was Noah, it would have been a 4 for 4. It would have been a grand slam.
That's right.
We just need to call him Noah Browning from now on. 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show. 913-912-4810. I guess we are in that era of quarterbacks that those names, we're going to start to see more and more of these names that are going to be making it to the NFL.
We're running out of Toms and Elis now that you mention it. I mean, wow. Yeah, okay, good point.
Yes. All right, 913-912-4810. We'll get into the Chiefs and the Patriots coming up this weekend, certainly. And Roger Goodell talked yesterday, the competition committee. They weighed a number of different things. Thought it was interesting, some of the comments coming out of that. Just in general, about the different things they talked about, the tush push, brotherly shove, the hip drop tackle, and then Roger Goodell in his press conference talking about a lot of different things and officiating as well, which was infuriating, that we'll get into in the next segment. 913-912-4810. The line has dropped 2 points from yesterday, Chiefs and Patriots. Yesterday was 9.5, today 7.5. I don't know when it happened or why it happened, or if Dylan went to DraftKings and placed a little bit of money on it, and they're like, all right, well, what does he know that we don't? But 2 points there. Not sure. Patrick Mahomes is playing this weekend, right?
I think so. And the over-under moved by half a point. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it a win-one for like Bill Belichick after all the news that's coming out? Maybe that maybe
I would think it'd be the opposite, though, right? But clearly they're dropping the line. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're dropping the line just because the total seems to be dropping, and so if they think there's fewer points, maybe it'll be like a 17-13 game, or if it's 17-10, you're still covering.
Yeah,
the Patriots are still covering. The Chiefs haven't scored, and now you're going up against a really good Patriots defense that's awesome against the run. Okay, so if that limits what the Chiefs can do from that standpoint and make them one-dimensional, all right, can the Patriots limit what the Chiefs are able to do passing the ball, which has been self-inflicted a lot, but also, can guys get open? So we'll see. 913-912-4810. 913-912-4810. Text says, 2 scenarios. Raiders come out with a mission to keep their fiery interim coach and smack the Chargers, or the Chargers come out inspired with a fresh voice and a leader at QB to prove their coach isn't an idiot and squeak out a win in a shootout. Where should my money go? I mean, asking for a friend. The under.
Yeah, the under's probably
I think your money
bet.
goes with the under. You got a Raiders team that's probably not going to score much, and you've got a Chargers team with Easton Stick, and Keenan Allen ain't playing tonight.
The real answer is don't put your money on any game like this so you're not forced to watch it.
Yeah.
I think I may watch just for the, I don't know, if it's entertaining or if it's the masochist.
Yeah. I'll watch some real crappy football in Prime Vision, man. We're scouting, we're scouting Aiden O'Connell and Easton Stick.
They play them, 2 of the last 4 games are against these opponents tonight.
This is where we are going to get our future Thursday show content by watching this game tonight. And we're going to come back and we're going to say, man, Easton Stick isn't very good. And man, they miss not having Keenan Allen.
The total is 34.5 tonight. There you go.
Chiefs Patriots is 37 now, as we've said.
Yeah,
Jets Dolphins is 37.5. That one seems kind of spicy to me because the Jets have scored a couple of points and the Dolphins defense hasn't looked great.
Dolphins defense hasn't looked great. They've lost a couple of guys to injury. That's the thing with the Dolphins this year. If the Dolphins were fully healthy, they'd be scarier. They would be more of a concern to me in the AFC if they were healthier. Tua Tagovailoa, what's the stat? I either took a screenshot of it or I slid into my own DMs.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think I slid into my own DMs. So let me find this tweet.
Been there.
That was there.
There were a lot of over-unders in the 30s this week. Like
that's
ton
just
of them.
Been this season, man, essentially.
Thursday, Chiefs Patriots, Jets Dolphins, Giants Saints, Bears Browns, Falcons Panthers, Texans Titans.
Wow.
All in the 30s. And then you have Commanders Rams and Cowboys Bills in the 50s.
Interesting.
We're just breaking 50.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't find it, but anyway.
Oh, I thought I was going to stall all the way until you found it.
Yep, anyway.
I thought I was doing good work.
Tua was pressured on the highest percent this past weekend or Monday night against Tennessee of his dropbacks. I think it was like 44% that he was pressured on all of his dropbacks.
Wow.
And Jeffrey Simmons didn't play for the Titans.
Wow. 44%?
They lost Connor Williams in the first quarter. They played that game without their left tackle, left guard, center, and right guard. Their starters. They will probably play this week against the Jets without their left tackle, left guard, center, and right guard. We know they'll play without their center. Against that Jets defense, that's better than the Titans and is better at, especially with Quinnen Williams, getting after the quarterback. So my concern for the Dolphins is that they have been just torched by injuries. Mm-hmm. And that offensive line was pretty good earlier in the year, and they're putting up 70 points, and Tua's sitting back there and timing throws. And then in that game against the Titans, they scored 2 touchdowns on offense, and that was a 12-yard drive and a 7-yard drive. Those are the only touchdowns they scored. And then it was the pick 6. That's how they got their 21 points. When they had to drive the length of the field, they put up 2 field goals. And they had to actually drive against that Titans defense because Tua was under duress all game. And when you're behind the sticks, the running game isn't as effective. And by the way, Tyreek Hill was in and out of the lineup.
And how much did we talk going into Dolphins week about rhythm and timing?
Yes.
You know what really screws up your rhythm and timing? Being on your back, bailing out immediately, under duress 44% of the time.
Happy feet that maybe you weren't under duress, but you're like the
great point.
The third down play before the Titans got the ball back and scored to win it. So it was 3rd and 2, and I think Tua got sacked. In fact, the last 2 plays on their last 2 drives, Tua got sacked. And one of them, I can't remember which one, it was either the final play of the game for the Dolphins or the one in their final, drive before the Titans took the ball and took the lead. He got sacked, and one of those was on Tua. That the pocket was sort of kind of breaking down, but it was still there, and then he just took off, and there was a spy right there waiting for him, and then, took him down, and there was nothing he could do. It was over. I think that might have actually been the last play of the game, because the Titans run off celebrating. In my memory, they wouldn't have run off celebrating if they still needed to go and get a touchdown. I think they ran off celebrating because they just won the game. I think that was the last one. The pocket breaks down a little bit, but he had time, and he just tucked it and started running, and there was a spy right there. That's my concern for the Dolphins. We'll see what happens with the Ravens. And I think that's the overall point that I've sort of made this week. Going into the Bills game, I was talking to my son on Saturday, and he had said something like, he's like, Dad, I'm scared the Chiefs aren't going to, go far in the play. They're not going to, I don't think they're going to win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl this year. I said, well, that's fine. Who is? And he goes, he's still learning. He goes, well, I mean, the Eagles and,
really good.
And I'm like, well, they may. I said, what about the AFC? And then I named off the teams in the AFC. He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, that's the point, buddy.
Exactly.
Is if you're saying, they are definitely not going, I'm going to need you to tell me the teams that are definitely better than them that will be going. And that continues to be something that I fall back on, and maybe it's a saving grace. Maybe it is grasping at straws or finding a silver lining or trying to find the pie in the sky, the glass half full that, as I think the way that you phrased it is, there's not a Chiefs this year in the AFC, where in years past, if there was a Chiefs-type team, looking at it this year, you would go, not only do they have to clean up mistakes, but they got to play a perfect game and maybe get one or two things go their way on the road against that team in the playoffs to make the Super Bowl. Probably not happening. But like NFL.com always does the things we learn from different games. They go through every single game and things we learned for each team, and then they do like an advanced stat every single Monday/Tuesday. NFL.com does that. And this week, one of the takeaways, as it was talking about the Chiefs and the issues, and they wrote, this just isn't a Super Bowl team.
Right.
Comparatively speaking to Chiefs teams of the past.
Correct.
I agree with that.
Absolutely, compared to Chiefs teams of the past.
But again, if this isn't a Super Bowl team, I want to know which teams in the AFC are definitely Super Bowl teams. Ravens? Okay, I can get down with that. They've got 3 losses. They're the best team in the AFC. Great. FPI, other percentage possibilities of getting the number 1 seed, winning the AFC. Ravens are the leader in the AFC in both of those, getting the number 1 seed and winning the conference. I agree with both of those things. But second in every one of those is the Chiefs. Even in getting the number 1 seed, the Chiefs are still second highest possibility in getting the number 1 seed. And they're a game behind the Dolphins for the number 2 seed. And they've got the second highest percentage. That's sort of where I think we can have analysis, and then we can also take it a step too far of this isn't a typical team, therefore shut it down. Who needs to be fired? Who sucks? Everything about this is going to fall apart. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a wasted year for Patrick Mahomes, and you might as well just live with reality that that's not happening. And I'm not living with that reality because I don't see a team that the Chiefs can't beat in the AFC. And even the advanced metrics with this Chiefs team struggling, the advanced metrics even say, in the AFC, they're number 2.
That's exactly what hopped to mind also as we were going through all these issues with the Dolphins. All of the places where this Jenga tower is balancing on Tyreek Hill's ankle right now. And even then, not having Tyreek in and out of that game to the other injuries you laid out, I don't think that was even the biggest reason they were sputtering. It was because that offensive line was Swiss cheese and absolutely falling apart. So you can go through all of those reasons that the Dolphins are having their issues shaky a little bit right now. And then I got to tell you that I think the Chiefs are like absolute no chancers in the AFC. That's ridiculous. But also, we've been watching the Chiefs in the Patrick Mahomes era, and this is worse. This feels different. The defense is much better, but overall the team feels worse. But again, yes, I like the Ravens. They may or may not get Mark Andrews back late in the playoffs. Right. We'll see if they get that far. I think that they've got full team, both sides of the ball. You see the vision there, and their quarterback is good enough. If you have a team that has a top 5-ish offense, but the quarterback is kind of hiding in it somewhere, and a good defense, I'm always waiting for the wheels to fall off. Lamar's good enough. Everything about the Ravens is legitimate, but they're flawed also. They can also be knocked off in a divisional round game just as easy as anybody. And so the thing that I'm trying to put some sort of value on is that if you're ranking AFC representatives in the Super Bowl, I think I'm going Baltimore 1, Kansas City 2. Mm-hmm. But because that gap is so close, the Chiefs could legitimately lose in the wild card round. What if the 7th seed is the Buffalo bleeping Bills? Like that could absolutely happen all over again. You get the rematch in Arrowhead. It wouldn't surprise you one bit. I also cannot tell you I would be surprised if they beat the Colts and the Jags to get to the AFC Championship game to play in Baltimore, and now it's a toss-up. Or Baltimore loses, and you're playing Miami and Kansas City.
Yeah. Or you're playing a home game because Buffalo, is the 6th seed and beats the 3, and the 2 seed beat, or 6 seed. Yeah, 6 seed beats the 3. The 2 seed would have beat if the Chiefs beat the 7, whatever it is, and Buffalo's the 6 seed, and then beats, let's say, Miami, and then goes to Baltimore and wins. Well, now the Chiefs are still at the Arrowhead Invitational against a good, at that point, it'd be a red-hot Buffalo team that'd be like, all right, well, this team is on a mission.
And they can be your wild card road favorites, all of that.
Yep. Bengals did it. Rams did it.
Buffalo's scarier to me than Miami right now, as the way it's apexing and declining, I guess, for Miami.
You know what? That's fair. I think I'd be in agreement with that.
I will get there soon on Buffalo, I think.
It's close.
Something doesn't And again, the Dolphins trending the way they are, Dylan, I think is a very good point. They get the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, and Dolphins to round out the year. Let's see what they do against Dallas. I mean, obviously Dallas is in a better spot than the Chiefs are right now, but the Bills lose to the Eagles, and the way that game ended, beat the Chiefs by 3. Let's see if they're right there with Dallas at the end. In Buffalo too.
Well, if Buffalo wins out, I think they win the East.
Yeah?
Because they play Miami one time.
Yeah.
Again, if they win out, that would give Miami 5 losses.
And
Buffalo has 6 right now.
Pure tiebreaker also. That'd be 2 wins over Miami.
2 wins over Miami. And that would mean Miami just has to lose either the Jets, the Cowboys, or at Baltimore. If they lose one of those 3 and the Bills win out, the Bills win the East.
Now beating the Cowboys will be a legitimate test.
The Bills winning out might be the toughest part of that because they have, because they also have to go to Miami. That game is in Miami for them to go there and win. And that game, that week 18, it's the last game of the season. Last week, that might be for the East.
That could be an Eastern.
That might be for the 3 seed or the 5 seed.
And depending on what Sunday Night Football is, that might be your flex as well.
Oh, baby, give it to me. I'll take it
should
right there.
be. I mean, if it comes down to that, I mean, if you've got that for the AFC East as opposed to the NFC South is going to
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, last week probably will decide the NFC South as well, but I don't care.
No.
About that matchup.
Man, Dallas, Baltimore, Buffalo to end the year for Miami is brutal.
Yeah.
Like they could lose all 3 of those games, and I would not even think less of them as a team right now. Like that's sort of what I expect almost.
That's why, I mean, I think the Chiefs win out. I think the Chiefs get at least the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
I know mixed skepticism, and I'm totally fine with it.
The Chiefs have earned your skepticism.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes. I understand that.
But so have the Raiders and Patriots and Chargers and currently this version of the Bengals.
Yeah.
God, if they lose to the Aiden O. Browning Bengals, I'm going to lose my mind.
The Bailey Easton Browning.
Yeah, the Easton O. Brownings. The Easton O. Brownings.
Yeah.
EOB.
Yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that.
They can't, but what if they do?
Yeah, I mean,
they're not gonna, but what if they do?
Browning has looked awesome the last couple of weeks. He's got in the last 2 weeks, he's got like a 118 quarterback rating against Jacksonville and Indy.
Listen, I'd hate to alarm you here, but the Bengals at 7-3, tied for the bottom in the division. Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cleveland.
You mean 7-6?
Well, I'm sorry. What did I say?
You said 7-3.
That would be better than being 7-6. Yeah, that's.
They'd be 3 games in the win column behind Baltimore at 7-3.
Their schedule would have been really wonky.
Game and a half out.
7-6 right there with Pittsburgh, but they end the season with the Vikings on QB 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Cleveland. Football, baby. Oh, the playoff picture. The playoff picture.
It's
Who's
nuts,
in the
man.
hunt? Everyone is in the hunt.
It's nuck and futz. I mean, we'll just see what happens the rest of the way, but I think the
11
Chiefs,
teams in the AFC.
Yeah. And the thing that, I brought this up with Cynthia yesterday, and I finally went back and added the Detroit Lions game in there because I had done the 4 losses for the Chiefs going back to the Denver game and looked at expected points added and win probability of the top 4 plays of each one. We've talked about that. I finally added the Detroit Lions game in there because I figured stop being lazy. Just look at all 5 losses. Why don't you? Don't you know? And looking at the top 4 plays, you'd be surprised that against Detroit, 3 of the top 4 went the Lions' way.
I wouldn't be surprised about that, Jason.
Weird.
That's exactly what I would have expected, believe it or not.
So those 5 games, the top 4 plays in all 5 of those games, that equals 20 plays. The top 4 plays in terms of expected points added and win probability swing one way or another.
Right. The most impactful plays.
Like the pick 6, Kadarius Toney, the pick 6, was the biggest swing in the game, win probability, expected points added in the Lions game. Shocker.
That has to be one of the biggest swings in the season, of any play this season, I would expect.
Yeah. Shocker that's what happened.
Yeah.
So of those top 4 plays that had the most impact in the 5 games, that's 20 plays, 16 of the 20 went the opposition's way in those 5 games. And it came to a total of 56 points, expected points added for the other team in 5 games. 56 total, 56.3. So just
I'm
round
sorry.
down.
So is that just those 16, or is that the sum of the top 20?
Some of the top 20.
That's even worse.
Because that even adds 4 plays that went the Chiefs' way.
Right. That's
helped out
what
with
I was
that.
wondering.
So the entire sum of the top 20 was a negative 56.3 points, expected points added by specific plays in the top 4. And that is a season in which they have lost by, 15, 16, 20, 23, 31 points?
Mm-hmm.
They lost those 5 games by 31 points, and just the top 4 plays in those games added 56 points to the opposition. And they lost by 31.
Insane.
Just even, like if you take 16 of 20 and you say, you know what, give the Chiefs 4 more.
Yes.
It's 12 of 20. They're still on the short end of the stick. It's 12 of 20 for the opposition. But do they have 1 or 2 more wins?
Probably 2 more wins. I mean,
sitting with the number 1 seed right now. And that's part of the, okay, so that's Detroit, Denver, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Buffalo.
and that's not even
playoff
adding,
teams,
That's
right?
not even adding the expected points lost by penalty of an offsides that turned into a touchdown. I mean,
Yeah.
you could really easily pick 2-3 plays on this season to change 2 or 3 results.
Absolutely. And to me, that's, again, maybe it's silver lining, maybe that's pie in the sky or glass half full, and you're trying to cover up the warts on this team. No, not at all. Warts and all with this team. That the warts and all, those are 5 playoff teams, and you go, yeah, they lost to them. Agreed, they did. That's an issue because they're going to have to beat, if they win the Super Bowl, at least 3 playoff teams. But in those games, it comes down to a play here or there. And how many of those plays are the Chiefs making the mistakes? Because Detroit, the pick 6 shouldn't have been a pick 6. Yep. Denver, you've got the Mahomes fumble, the MVS fumble, the interception, the muffed punt by McCole Hardman. Those are some massive swings in that game. Philadelphia, can't remember which plays they were, but I know I've got them written down somewhere. Just think of the negative play. Oh, Philadelphia was the interception in the end zone and the Travis Kelce fumble at the 8-yard line.
And that's not counting the drop because that's an unrealized play.
Doesn't count. It's just a incomplete pass. I mean, I guess you could look up, what it would be, or somebody with their math degree can do that. Green Bay, and Green Bay, it was the third down or 2nd and 16 completion, and then the 4th and 1 completion, and then there was the turnover by the Chiefs, and then Buffalo was, the plays that we've talked about from this last week. In fact, even in Detroit, one of the top 4 plays in that Detroit game was the 3rd and 1 short yardage situation, Blake Bell under center with the hard count, and they didn't snap it, and then they handed it to Rashee Rice running down the line of scrimmage instead of running straight ahead. That was, I think, the 4th biggest swing in EPA and win probability in that game. There weren't a whole lot of massive swings one way or another in certain plays like we've seen against Denver. Fumble, interception, muff punt. Those are massive swings. Detroit was a huge one, obviously. And then, one of the top 4 was just not picking up that 3rd down, 3rd and 1 late in the game, because then you punt the ball back, and you get the ball late, and there's a drop pass. So when Andy Reid says, we're close, I think there's some validity to it.
Yeah.
But it is hard to continue to hear that time and time again and not see that actually materialize in a game. And there will be levels of skepticism even if it materializes against the Patriots and the Raiders, even the Bengals and the Chargers, because none of those teams, outside of maybe the Bengals, are making the playoffs. And if the Chiefs beat the Bengals and they've got a couple of other tough ones, then they would also be a non-playoff team. So then you get into, well, who would they beat? Who are the playoff teams the Chiefs have beat? Just like the Miami Dolphins. They haven't beaten anybody. Who'd they proven? Well, Chiefs beat the Dolphins.
Yeah,
So
playoff team.
they beat them.
Hold on.
They do have a win against the Denver Broncos, in that game.
Hopefully not a playoff team. My God.
Yeah,
That'd be
you
bad
never know.
news.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to hear from Roger Goodell, Raj, at the owners' meetings, winter meetings, whatever you want to call it. He was asked about the officials, and it's infuriating. And we'll let you listen and see why coming up next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. So the NFL owners and the league with their competition committee and things, what it's actually called, like the meetings that have taken place. Roger Goodell talked yesterday at
the NFL.com article called them the December League meeting.
The December League meeting. Great.
Rolls right off the tongue, easy to remember.
So here's Raj weighing in. We left the question in here because the question is part of my infuriation of this whole thing. So here's the question. It's from Jonathan Jones of CBS, and it's about officiating and, of course, what took place this last Sunday in Kansas City against the Bills. This is about 4 minutes long. There's a couple of follow-ups here about the officiating and the state of it right now in the NFL.
Hey, Roger, a lot of talk, a lot of attention being paid to officiating, consistency around officiating. I'm curious what your perspective is on the current state of officiating, and specifically your take on a specific play in Kansas City. Flag was thrown, and then the comments made by some of the faces of your league and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes afterward.
Well, I find it a little ironic that when you say attention on officiating, when I think almost everybody, to my knowledge, is acknowledging that the officials are absolutely correct. That's their job, to call when there's a foul. There was no question about that foul. It was absolutely the right call. If you don't call that, obviously we would have been subject, or our officials would have been subject to criticism also. So we all understand our officials are second guessed. I've said it many times to you before, they are not perfect. No human being is. But the reality is they do an extraordinary job. And as I said, I find it ironic that I'm standing here answering a question about the officials got it right and they're being criticized. I think it shows you how difficult it is to do their job. And I understand that, and understand it comes with the job, and I understand the officials understand that. But I'm incredibly proud of not just what they did at that game, but also what they continue to do.
Yeah, Roger, you mentioned how challenging the officials' job is, and as the game gets faster and everything else. And I think you'd agree that the technology that's available is one of the reasons why they're criticized so much, because we can see so much more on TV than we were able to 10 or 20 years ago. Do you think the league needs to do more to use that technology to help the officials, whether it's through somebody up in the booth, you guys in New York, how you use the chains, all the different things, like how much do you think technology?
How we use the chains?
Well, the chains, like the idea of using electronic chains has come up. like some of the things that have been in the game forever. I guess that's a bad example.
I understand the broader point is correct, and I think we have. I think you've seen evolutions of that, and some of it is because the coaches or the ownership or the general managers, the league in general, wants to make sure that technology is going to be used properly. And so we've worked really hard to try to institute that. And as an example, we do the quick reviews now, and I think that's made a big difference. It's at a higher level than it's ever been. But I think it's not only gotten the call right quicker, it's avoided challenges, and it's also, I think, sped the game up, which I think is important. So I think we'll continue to do that, and I see using that technology more often. But you're absolutely right on the core issue, which is ultimately we're seeing things we never were able to see before. The fans are seeing that. And it's, as a result of that, it makes their job harder. I've said that for years. But they understand that. But one of the things I think is really important is how many times it shows that they're right. I think it's extraordinary, actually.
On the question of officiating and the criticism that's coming from within, with so many high-profile players questioning the credibility, are you concerned with the optics of that? And not only Mahomes, but there have been other players recently who, fired off on the officiating.
Sure, and listen, we understand that. That's not new. You get that, and it's frustrating. We know how hard those players are playing. We know how hard the coaches are coaching. We know how much the fans put into it passionately. So we want to get it right every time. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to hit that bar, but we're going to sure work our ass off to do it.
Infuriating. It's infuriating even with the sliver of positivity with the, I see us using the technology more often moving forward. Like that. Oh, great. Good to hear. Good to hear. You know what? The quick reviews, not having to use challenges or whatever, it sped the game up. Great. Absolutely. Use the technology more often. Why couldn't have these mother bleeping meetings taken place last week? Because my issue with Jonathan Jones, who I like, why ask about the state of officiating and then say specifically to that call because it gives an out? I think it's ironic that it was the right call. We're arguing about officials, and all it does is show how difficult the job is. They're being criticized for something they got right. Why are we even talking about this? They've done a great. I am proud of them. It shows that I'm incredibly proud of them. They got it right. They're being criticized. How ironic. So you guys say there's an issue with the officials, but the issue is that they got a call right? Oh, I don't know. And then we're seeing it up and close, and we're seeing it so close, it actually makes their job harder. No, it doesn't. It makes their job the exact same. It just points out how wrong they've been for a long time. We now see how often they get it wrong. If this damn meeting took place last week, we could have asked them about an obvious pass interference that was missed and a late hit out of bounds that wasn't out of bounds. But instead, we're asking them specifically about a play that was right, which gives them an out to say officials are fine. So infuriating. And that's why I'm pissed off that the Chiefs didn't complain last week the way they did this week, because everybody would have been right behind them, complaining with them, talking about how bad it is. They complained this week because it was the boiling over point, and it's a sore loser, crybaby, you're in the wrong, you've got no beef, they got it right. Roger Goodell, what do you think about officials? Ironic, they got it right.
Jason, I just think it's incredible how often officials get it right. It's a great point.
I heard him asking the question, and then he said, and specifically, no, not specifically. How about, okay, specifically, missed pass interference. Mm-hmm. Specifically, you wanted to crack down on illegal formation. There's been, one called since week 5. Guys are lining up the same. Specifically, you wanted to crack down on offensive offsides. There have been 4 that have been called all year on wide receivers.
Specifically, the communication between referees and coaches, the state of that. What should that relationship look like? That would be interesting. I'd love to hear more.
Specifically how inconsistent all the officiating is. Like, the follow-ups were the best. You've got the technology. Can you use that? Yeah. Well, what about even with the chains? What are we doing with the chains? You're doing with the chains what you did in 1940, Raj.
Yeah. Yep.
Chains are the same as 1940. We have a chip in the football. We have a chip, I think, placed inside every player. I'm convinced of that, probably.
I think there are chips inside of every person now, Jason.
Tracking device. They have a way of, and I want to get into the receiver tracking metrics.
Yep.
They have a way to see every player on the field and calculate in real time the space between them, the speed in which they're going, the angle in which they're going, so they can tell if a receiver is open or not based on the speed and momentum of the bodies on the field. And yet the ball is placed randomly, just, I don't know, somewhere around here. It's just in general. Well, let's measure, because it's in general there. Let's just put it somewhere in general. Let's bring the chains out as well and do all this stuff.
Anybody got a note card?
Is there a chip in the football or anything? The note card, yeah.
I need a note card.
Like, chains, what are we doing? What's wrong with the chains?
There are cameras in every pylon. We can, have you seen a spy movie? Pretend the end zone has an expensive rare diamond. Break the laser.
Wait till they bring out the tennis ball replay virtual thing, and then it'll be a whole nother.
That's been around for a long time too. Oh, yeah. That one blows my mind. I don't know how it works. I also, like you are referring to, don't know how it works that Amazon in real time can tell you who's likely to blitz. Sometimes the dots will come out
ready to say that.
faster than the replays do. Yeah. I saw MVS run toward a safety on that deep route last week on the dots before I ever saw certainly all 22.
And how do they get access to those? How do they have those dots immediately? Because every single player has some sort of a tracking device.
I think it's in the shoulder pads.
Yeah, I think it is. It's not inserted into their shoulder blade.
Well, we don't know that yet.
I'm not sure. Into their neck.
That's where mine is.
Anywhere there's a tattoo or a scar is actually where that is. So it just, why ask about that specific play? You gave him an out. They got it right. It shows how difficult it is that we're complaining about a right call.
It's like a lawyer questioning someone, and then they say one phrase, and then that defendant just harps on that the whole answer instead of actually answering the question.
Absolutely. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. That's right, because in the NBA, the game can change in an instant. You know that, I know that, we all know that. But no matter how the action unfolds, DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub. And I don't know, maybe you went a little bit aggressive on Giannis over points last night based on some other people's advice. I'm not sure. And then you had that taken care of in like the second quarter, whatever. Maybe you had that. Maybe you had the length of fight between Pacers and Bucks over a basketball. I don't think that was a prop bet at DraftKings, but maybe you got that as well. There's a lot of different things that are actually fun and real at DraftKings you can do with the NBA because so many things going on each and every night. And best of all, it's safe, secure, reliable with 24/7 support. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code 810WHB. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code 810WHB. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 20.
All right, wrapping up this hour, we'll talk with Kent Swanson coming up from the other side of the break. KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com. Get his thoughts on this Chiefs team, where they go from here, his confidence level in this team moving forward, what he thinks about the matchup coming up this weekend. How much concern is there for how the Chiefs are playing right now, etc. We'll do that coming up with Ken Swanson. We will hear from the Chiefs about 11:45, 11:50 or so. Steve Spagnuolo, Dave Tobe, Matt Nagy, whichever players may be at the podium today, we'll find out, or players in the locker room as well. I wish the media would ask Kadarius Toney some hard-hitting questions. Like, they just keep throwing softballs at Kadarius Toney. He's dropping them.
Hard-hitting questions like, where are you?
Just somebody ask him a question.
since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. Let's bring in Kent Swanson, KCSN.substack.com, the KC Laboratory Podcast, KC Sports Network's Kent Swanson. Kent, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful, and
Good.
it feels like it's been a while since I've talked to you, buddy. I think I was on with Brisco the last time. I think you were off.
Yeah, somebody a few weeks ago just wasn't available, and they declined to do it because it didn't work with their schedule. I don't know whose fault that is. We're all trying to find the guy, though. Thanks for being here, Kent.
I think the last time you and I talked, Kent, was the last time the media heard from Kadarius Toney.
Ooh.
It was
Boy, it's been a long time then.
Wednesday after the Lions game.
Just check the notes on that one.
Yeah, we just
Not an exaggeration.
Because we were wondering, because he hasn't been at the podium, he didn't stay after the game on Sunday, and apparently he was in the locker room yesterday at the beginning of availability and declined to talk. So it just made me think of we haven't talked in a while, and hey, you know what? Neither is Kadarius, but that's fine. He's probably busy.
We appreciate you not declining to talk today, Kent.
At least today. That is very nice of you. Kent Swanson's our guest. All right, this is going to be very, broad and see where you go with it. But I know the obvious and easy would be, the wide receivers or whatever. But, I'll just ask, where does the issue on the offense lie? And is there as big of an issue as we may think? I enjoyed Matt Lane's piece there at KC Sports Network that he saw a really, really good game from Patrick Mahomes, looking at the film and every one of his throws, that it was Patrick just simply firing it, just releasing it, trusting the instincts and throwing. He called it throwing with his chest. Finally, I loved that from Matt Lane because it puts some perspective in what he was seeing. So, if you're just simply, talking national or hey, where does the issue lie on this offense?
Well, I think receivers are still going to be the focal point, and I still think it's the primary reason that this team has had the struggles that they've had because, it's a comedy of errors that have kept this team from, sustaining offense at a level that we're used to. They're still top half of the league and a lot of metrics, top third. I do think that it's just the receivers have made a lot of mistakes, whether it's procedural things like Kadarius Toney lining up offsides, drop passes, miscommunications on routes. I think that is a focal point and the main reason that this offense is struggling. But they're not the only reason that this offense is stalled out. We're seeing, leading the league in holding penalties and some of these false starts and stuff from the offensive line. I don't put a ton of blame on Mahomes, though. To Maddie's point, I just have a hard time, putting too much on him, for all the mistakes that are happening around him. And I think, the phrase that, he's used that for the last couple of years, throwing it with his chest. Mm-hmm. He was doing that a lot better earlier in the year, and it feels like he kind of faded off a little bit, where, some of the things happening around him might have kept him from doing it to the same kind of level we've seen. But, he just kind of got back to firing it a little bit more in a recent sample size, and that's good to see.
I struggle with, when we come out of a game where, the Chiefs lose and they score 17 points or, something along those lines. I struggle with the analysis of looking at the offense overall, guys that made a mistake, and then also not just simply protecting a sacred cow and saying, well, Mahomes could do no wrong and he's a perfect player and he's never made a mistake, et cetera. Obviously, people make mistakes, but Seren brought up a great point yesterday, and I thought it was, apropos to what we're discussing this year with the Chiefs offense. And he went back to Mike Sweeney on the Royals and talked about, when he was hosting a post-game show that Mike Sweeney on the day went 2 for 4. The Royals scored 3 runs, and they scored 3 runs on a 2-run home run by Sweeney and a sacrifice fly. Those are the 3 runs. But in the 9th inning, they had a guy on, lost by a run, and he flew out to the warning track. And the first call he took was, Mike Sweeney's getting too much money to not be clutch. And his point was, he's the only guy on this team, and that's the one that you're going to talk about. That's the one that you're going to blame. That's the one that you're going to lay your – he's the best player. He's the guy. He's the only one they have, and that's where you're going to – yeah, no kidding. He's not going to be perfect. And so it was a great, analogy and comparison because that's where I sort of struggle with it is he is not beyond reproach, but man, it's really hard to say, boy, Patrick's got to play better when it's like, yeah, but why can't these other guys step up and do something since he's the best player? And if we continually just say, well, Mahomes should do this and Mahomes should do that, and he's always got to cover up the warts and always got to cover up these spots that are, negatives for this team. I mean, yeah, he's getting a lot of money, but, you can't literally do it by yourself. He does need some help from other guys. That's where I sort of fluctuate, Kent, of going back and forth of how much do I talk about Patrick versus I don't want to just dismiss it, but it is sort of picking on the one guy that's the stud. Or one of the guys that's the stud.
I just, and I think it's tricky because I have a hard time believing Patrick Mahomes got worse. And I have a hard time believing that he forgot how to do things that he's been doing over the course of his career.
Yeah.
And we've never seen him not ascend. Now, what I think it is, there is Patrick, it's not like the Chiefs had world beaters, in their receiver room last year. They had a stable presence in their receiver room who operated well in the middle of the field, who could read coverage, who could make adjustments to his routes and be on the same page with Patrick Mahomes consistently. That was Juju Smith-Schuster. And then they had a lot of niche guys that could do little things within the offense. Even Sky Moore found some ways to be involved. And, Kadarius Toney for stretches, MVS doing what he did specifically. I genuinely, my take on it is, I just think we found the line of where Patrick Mahomes' greatness ends and other players' faults begin. And it's just, there is not enough in the cupboard to achieve that baseline level where, they can, run a functional offense. Guys that can't do what they're being asked to do or are needing to take any step up, any of these look, Sky Moore, MVS, Kadarius Toney have all got worse. And I just think it's because they lack something else in that room that can provide some level of consistency, even though Rashee Rice is great and how they use him and all that stuff. They have to do too much, and they're not capable of doing it. And so I think we've kind of found where, Mahomes can't cover up for some of these guys, and they just don't have some stable, steady presence that can make everything around them better.
The the whole, your best guy needs to be your best guy type deal. And sometimes your highest paid guy probably needs to be, one of your more talented guys. I don't know MVS off the field. No idea. Who he is. Had one conversation with him at the Super Bowl. So I don't know, but it does just seem like in that locker room, and maybe in that wide receiver room, there's a lack of a presence of maybe accountability or something along those lines. I'm not sure. I don't know if Juju offered that last year. Who knows? Maybe he was the guy. Maybe he was too busy doing TikToks and had no time for it. Maybe it's Eric Bieniemy. Maybe it's a combination of guys in different spots at the assistant coaches. No Eric Bieniemy, Juju gone, MVS regressing, 2 new tackles, all of these different things. Maybe it's just a combination of all of that. You do all of that in one off season. It's tough to overcome so many of those things that when the Chiefs redid their offensive line, the skill position players were the same and the coaches were sort of the same. Now they've redone their tackles and they've got new wide receivers and they've got new offensive coordinator, new wide receiver coach, the detail-oriented guy, the sort of red ass that's going to be in your face and hold you accountable, not necessarily there. And we see maybe the difference, Kent, from a team that can play at a high level and do some of those little things at a high level to then you slip back just a little bit, and how close, that line is in the NFL to draw you back to the middle, and the margin for error that is missing because of some of these smaller details, these little things along the way that, can add up over time. And that's the culmination of what we're seeing.
I mean, you heard Patrick Mahomes cite Eric Bieniemy. You heard him cite, some of the stuff with Eric Bieniemy where, he was really good on, harping on the details. And, it kind of seems like there were times where, some of the players seemed fed up with some of Eric Bieniemy's harping on, the fundamentals and the details. But guess what? I think we're learning, all the intangibles of Eric Bieniemy that people talked about that we didn't really get to see in the same way, in the same light. I think we're starting to understand Eric Bieniemy's value to this team. It's a guy that was willing to be unceasing on the most basic and sometimes annoying fundamentals of the game. And because this team is lacking in ball security, catching the football, getting on good, being consistent off the snap. I mean, lining up, checking with the ref, all the little procedure. These are all things that I think Eric Bieniemy held to a higher standard for this team, and it was exactly what this team needed, in conjunction with a coach that does want to try to give players some freedom, does want to let them play through mistakes, lets them do those kinds of things. So I do wonder how much this team misses somebody like Eric Bieniemy and how impactful his loss really has been. Not from like a scheme perspective, because I think Andy it's all funneling through Andy there, but having someone underneath Andy that is holding that entire group accountable, I think is pretty apparent, because they're making the same mistakes over and over and over again, and it's almost Christmas, Jason.
Is there a turning point now with this team that, I think the boiling over and the frustration with Patrick Mahomes was a culmination of everything. I don't think he was, mad at that official the way that he was, showing it there. I think they played again. One, they really wanted that game against the Bills. The week ago when the flag wasn't thrown. 3 weeks ago when MVS can't catch a football that's thrown right in his hands, and Mahomes constantly taking the high road of, well, to MVS, I could have thrown it a little bit shorter, the pass interference. Well, if I'd have thrown it longer, then he doesn't get caught from behind. That's fine. They're just letting us play. Like, he's constantly taking the high road, constantly falling on the sword, and this one sort of bubbled over. And I wonder, in your mind, this a turning point that, this can be a rallying cry maybe for the team. Travis Kelce said yesterday, just making the beast in the locker room the way that people are talking about him. Or did we see the frustrations that are maybe going on behind the scenes that are now coming to the surface in a game that's cause for concern?
Yeah, I think earlier in the week I felt more on the lines of, I think this is a concerning thing. I don't know if they have what it takes with so much newness on that offense to really, to really overcome the things that they're continually making mistakes. This is just what they are. But I also continue to think, it's not that this team doesn't need, they don't need to cut their mistakes in half. They need to cut their mistakes by 10%. 15%, 20%. Mm-hmm. I think that's an achievable number. Like, when you take a step back and really think about all the mistakes that this team makes, and even if you look at individual games, you're going to find 6, 7 things that drive you nuts that kept this team from winning. But it literally means 6 instead of 7 in some of these instances, right? So I think it's probably fixable, that they can, reduce their mistakes by 1 a game, 2 a game. And that actually might be enough for them to run the table all the way into February. And I think that it's frustrating to watch the same mistakes being made over and over again. And in the moment, after watching yet another loss, I understand it. But I see things like Travis Kelce's ball security has been better since he fumbled against the Eagles. And so there's one, right? There's one mistake that's probably not going to happen the rest of the year. And, you just work on ball security now for Rashee Rice is probably going to be a thing for the remainder of the year. You don't expect him to fumble again. Like, I think there's just a couple mistakes, being removed away from winning a lot of football games the rest of the year.
Yeah, Rashee Rice, 3 times he's put the ball on the ground the last 2 weeks. 2 of them he was down by contact, but the ball still came out. That's got to be better. He's a rookie. I get that. And both times going to the ground. And that's what the high percentage of fumbles are when the guy is about to hit the ground. You're going down, whether you're bracing for impact or you're reaching your elbow down to, help alleviate some of the weight that's going to be put on the ground. And then the ball sort of pops out. And, wrong wrong time for a guy to knock the thing out and hit it at a right spot. But that's obviously got to be better. Like there's no doubt about that. That has to be where he's a difference maker and makes some of these bigger plays, like the second and long, where it's just a quick little slant, and all of a sudden, or first and long, and all of a sudden it brings up like 2nd and 6 after that quick little slant. Like that's pretty easy. It seemed pretty simple. Okay, getting the ball in his hands, throwing it down the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden it's a 13-yard pickup. I do wonder, Kent, that when we watch this team with Tyreek Hill, there was a feeling that at any moment, there was a huge play that was going to happen. Even with Damian Williams as the running back, because he was so fast, to break it, like against the Vikings with that 90-yard run. Like at any point, you just had this feeling that there was going to be a touchdown on that play. I don't have that feeling this year at all. Like to me, it's like, is there a first down on this play? Like I'm watching to see, like, are they staying on schedule? Are they ahead of the chains on this play? Do they pick up a first down on this play? Can they get a chunk yard of 10, 11, 12 yards? But I don't have that feeling that at any second, all of a sudden, there's a touchdown coming.
Yeah, and but like if you think about last year too, I don't think I felt like that either. And a lot of it, I think, is tied to the fact that teams are playing in too high and they're going out of their way to eliminate the explosive plays and forcing these, otherworldly quarterbacks to drive down the field consistently. And, I mean, if you think about, like, Tyreek Hill, even, like, I not to say he wasn't still an extremely explosive player and all that, he averaged 11.2 yards per catch his last season, where he averaged between 14.7 and 17 yards the 4 years prior. So he was seeing a reduction. He was seeing a limitation on their ability to be as explosive as they have in the past. And last year, without Tyreek Hill, they had an unbelievably efficient offense, and by some metrics, the most efficient offense that the Chiefs have ever had. So I think, if Tyreek Hill was still here, for instance, I think you'd still probably, like, I don't know if you would see the same kind of explosion that he's having in, from a explosive play perspective that he would, because I think the Dolphins are a different group that has been able to figure out how to utilize him. But Tyreek Hill was starting to become, someone that was having a lid placed on him within the structure of KC's offense. So I get, I don't feel like this offense has been as explosive, but I don't think they were an overly explosive offense last year, and they were still, by some metrics, the best offense that Patrick Mahomes has ever had. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. The way that things are going now in the NFL too, I think are kind of keeping a lid on a lot of teams and how they're handling it.
Kent Swanson's our guest. All right, Wanya Morris has played a game and a half now as the main guy. What are you seeing from him? Your analysis, confidence level, optimism that may or may not be there from Wanya Morris, and if he might be an answer at left tackle moving forward with the Donovan Smith 1-year contract.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky. I really like Wanya Morris, and what he's done to this point I think has been quite good. I don't think the bar to clear has been high either, though. I don't think, I don't think Donovan Smith played to a great level, and he's been playing, with some injuries by some indications. There were mistakes that he made in this game, this first start against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I think it's been belabored at this point. Didn't get his hand, wasn't able to get the hands down of the pass rusher on the swing route to the running back that wound up being an interception on the first drive. But man, you watch him in the run game. He's a factor in the run game. Pass protection, they're having to give help to Donovan Smith anyway. They've been having to give help to their left tackle the last few years anyway. I don't know why you can't continue to help him in that capacity too. So I think they should continue to go to Wanya Morris. I think he's played to a level that has justified him continuing to get a good look. And, honestly, with the 4-game sample, or with the 4 games they have remaining, where it's going to be a good sample size for the future, and it's against teams that they should beat, and that Wanya Morris isn't going to be the determining factor in a win or loss. So I really like what they've seen. I think he could be the left tackle of the future, and that's such a big win for this organization if they were able to find their left tackle of the future. in the third round of the draft.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. It would be a great advantage that they would have if they can do that. All right, Chiefs-Pats this weekend. What do you feel may happen in this game? Do you have a score in mind with Chiefs and Patriots noon on Sunday?
So I was down bad a little bit earlier in the week, and I was never at any point going to predict a Chiefs loss in this game. I do think the Chiefs are going to pull this game off. I think the farther you step away from things, there were some good moments offensively that I think, are going to, I think they're going to carry over, especially after the response of, this team going through everything that they went through, in this whole week. I think they put like 24 points up on the board. It's going to, that's only 24. That's 124 against a good team, or a good defense at least, not a good team, a good defense. I think this is going to be a comfortable win for the Chiefs. I think they're going to have a big response, and I think this is going to be the start to at least, seeing a vision, a route to, doing everything we believe this team is capable of doing. So give me like 24-7. Chiefs are going to win this game. Harder than 24 points, and you're going to feel better about the outlook after it.
If they score 24 points, it would be the most points put on the Patriots since October 29th when the Dolphins put 31 on them. And also I think the Dolphins had a pick 6 in that game. I think they had a defensive touchdown. So you can even, put some context to that as well. So they gave up, I think, 35 to Buffalo or 25 to Buffalo. And then, so 24 points. It wouldn't just be, they scored 24 points against the Patriots. No, that would be some harder than 24 points if they get there. Ken Swanson, KCSN.substack.com, the KC Laboratory Podcast. Kent, you're the man as always. Appreciate the time, brother. Enjoy the football. We will catch up soon.
Yep, good talking to you.
Absolutely. There's Ken Swanson, Kirkland King, Ken Swanson, KCSN.substack.com is where you can go and find that stuff, KC Sports Network, and, of course, the KC Laboratory Podcast with he and Craig Stout and Matt Lane. And I talked about, with Kent, Matt Lane's article that he put out at KCSN, just the Mahomes throwing with his chest and going through a number of plays that it was, it wasn't a timid Patrick Mahomes in that game that was worried about where guys need to be. It was a Patrick Mahomes that was in rhythm, reading, and just firing the football. And as he said, his term that he's used, throwing with his chest, and maybe less doubt that is there, which is great. But there's that sort of the internal struggle of, he can play better, but maybe his season isn't as bad as it looks on paper with guys around him, that they have let him down more than he has had even the ability to raise up the play of other guys. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. Thank you to Kent Swanson. Let's go around the room here, or at least the room in the control room, with Dylan as well. We'll bring him in. I want to know, as we look at this Chiefs team and the skill position players, Travis Kelce said that he wants Kadarius Toney on his team all the time. This guy is a difference maker with the ball in his hands. They are better with him out there on the field. People that are hating on Kadarius Toney, bleep you. So I want to bring in all of the skill position players and just go around the room, and if we feel like this player is an issue, a solution, or they're just simply filler, just a roster filler, because not everybody can be a solution or an issue. You can just be a guy. You're there doing your job. You're not expected to do much, and you don't. Just there. So, you know what? Let's go to the running back room. I think this is probably going to be easy to go around the room.
Yeah.
Pacheco? Solution?
Solution.
Yeah.
Solution.
Yeah. Jet? Jerick McKinnon?
Solution in a role.
Solution in his role, yeah.
Yep.
Clyde?
Filler.
Filler.
Not a problem right now. Just a guy.
Filler.
All right, let's get into now. There we go. That's out of the way.
Travis Kelce. Problem!
Filler. Okay. No, I didn't even include Kelsey.
Yeah.
Noah Gray.
I'd like to see him be a part of the solution.
I went back and forth between solution and filler, but it's my opinion that I think he can be part of the solution.
I agree with
if
that.
he was used that way. So I put him in the solution category.
But the Chiefs are using him in the role of a filler.
Exactly right. Dylan?
Josh nailed it right there.
Yeah.
He's a solution being used as a filler.
Love it. Rasheed Rice. Solution.
Solution.
Right?
Absolute
Okay.
solution.
All right. Now let's have some fun.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Justin Watson.
Filler.
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 MVS.
Problem.
Problem.
Problem. Sky Moore.
Phil problem.
Why are you mad at Phil?
He's a Phil problem.
Told you that was
He's a
Phil
Dr.
United.
Phil problem.
Dr. Phil problem. Dylan?
I will go overarching problem of scouting at wide receiver.
I'm going issue/problem for Sky Moore. And maybe it's the fact that it's an issue because of how they used him.
Yes.
Now, this last week might be the difference between him being an issue and just being filler. But by playing 60% of the snaps every week and getting 1 or 2 targets, that's an issue.
Yep. Yes, what the expectation makes it an issue, even though I'm not trying to cut him from the team right now. I don't know.
And 1 player left.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney. Is he an issue? Is he part of the solution? Or is he just filler?
You want me to go last? I know my take on this.
I think that third one is eliminated, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Kadarius Toney is like, well, nobody has an opinion on him.
Right.
He's just sort of
He's kind of neutral.
Yeah, just sort of there. He's
You guys want to
just
go
vanilla
first?
ice cream.
You want to go first so I can be annoying?
I'll go first, but I think we're going to be annoying together, which is typically what the show is.
10-2, baby.
I think he's part of the solution.
Okay.
He's been an issue, but he is part of the solution. And that's where maybe it's like, okay, well, pick one, right? You're straddling the fence. Pick one, damn it. If I picked one until this point, issue. He's a problem on this team.
Yes.
To this point. Through week 14, he has been an issue on this team. But if we're saying how does the offense get better, then I put him in the solution category, running the risk that he can continue to be an issue.
Yep.
So there is always that he's been an issue through 14 weeks. Now all of a sudden he's going to become part of the solution. Dylan?
I'm going to go in between here. I think Josh might go.
We're all straddling the fence.
Well, this is a fence group here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go filler. He is
okay. Wow, filler. That's unexpected, but I like it.
He's trying to replace, just like McCole Hardman is also a filler and also a problem for scouting wide receivers. He's a filler for trying to replace Tyreek Hill.
I think that's a great angle.
You can't do that, and we need to stop trying to do that because we've failed twice, and it's cost us DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin, and now George Pickens and draft picks and also games of this season with Kadarius Toney.
Well, and also MVS is your highest paid receiver because
That's another one.
You traded Tyreek and you said, well, who do we have out there that can MVS? He's there, and to get him, we got to give him 3 years, $30 million or 33, whatever it is, $11 million per year.
Great point.
So let's try to fix the Tyreek Hill issue. MVS, let's fix the Tyreek Hill potential issue. McCole Hardman, let's fix the Tyreek Hill issue. Let's trade for Kadarius Toney.
It's a really interesting angle, Dylan. He's a Chiefs filler. Because the Chiefs always have that guy. Because Richie James, I was if we went down the group, I'd say Richie James filler, McCole Hardman filler right now.
Yeah.
But they're all filling that specific role that Kadarius Toney is at the top of, and they're all, Russian nesting dolls of the same guy, a Spider-Man meme or whatever. So I think that's super fun, and I'm gonna say he's a problution. And that's us all being on the same page again of straddling this particular fence.
So let's go through the first 14 weeks.
He has been a problem more often than he has been a part of the solution.
An issue. Would you put him at filler through the first 14 weeks, Dylan, or still call him an issue because of the mistakes while trying to fill that Tyreek Hill role?
Yeah, here's where, and people are going to get really annoyed at this because it's last season. I feel like I stay filler because with all the bad, he still put us at the 7-yard line in a massive game with a massive punt return in a massive situation to get us a ring. So I will just stick with filler. Well, I mean, he has an issue this season, though.
Yeah.
And I'm on the fence still.
And it's also how fickle fans can be.
Yep.
As a collective.
Yep.
All of us.
Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney were heroes in February of this year.
The parade is going down the road, and Kadarius Toney's the toast of the town.
Yep.
And he's a big part of it. I mean, Sky Moore throughout the entire season was he can't catch a punt, get him out of there, and then against the Bengals, he returns a punt to set up what was the game-winning field goal. Kadarius Toney, hadn't really done much, and then he gets the field goal or the punt return and the touchdown. And throughout the offseason, it was what Kadarius Toney was like this toy that, you would just saw a glimpse of. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They're actually fixing it up. You got this cool new car, and it's getting refurbished.
Gently used, lightly refurbished
and
now.
You're getting this whole thing to look brand new and how fun this thing can be. And the engine keeps failing for some reason. You're running through alternators left and right for some reason on the and now it's become just an issue that you're pouring money into this. And
that car aesthetically though, that thing is beautiful when it's at top speed. Woo!
Yeah, done with the car analogy. But that's how fickle we can be because MVS had the best game of his career to help get this team to the Super Bowl because everybody was injured.
In 2023, this calendar year.
Right. And he's been terrible since then.
Yep.
He has just been he had bigger plays in that Bengals game alone than he has had since then.
It's crazy.
In the 15 games he has played since that Bengals game, he had bigger plays that were made in that Bengals game. But he had to make them.
Right.
Somebody had to step up. And for that, 30 years from now, is he viewed differently? I don't know. Is Kadarius Toney viewed differently if he just continues on this route for the next couple of years? I don't know if that's the case. But I know the Chiefs have a Super Bowl ring, and they were part of it. But you can't just then be net negatives moving forward and regress and not acknowledge things that are going on and continue to be an issue. That has to change. You're still getting paid a lot of money to do your job. You did your job on that night. That was expected of you, and that's awesome, and it helped the team win a Super Bowl. It doesn't mean you don't have to do your job anymore because he has not been doing his job since then. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from the coordinators and coaches today. More Zone next. We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels. I was mistaken. It's just coordinators today. Just the coordinators today. So that is Steve Spagnuolo, Dave Tobin, Matt Nagy, in case you were not aware who the coordinators of the Chiefs are. And we'll see if any other players are at the podium today or not. We will find out as you find out as well. 913-912-4810. Don't forget, coming up at 1 o'clock, we got a little sports or leisure today. Presented by Johnny's Tavern, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We will be giving away in sports or leisure. You get the leisure question right, get the sports question right, you will win the prize. Tonight right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, Chargers and Raiders. You know, in years past, this is a big one. Heck, just a couple of years ago, this one decided who was going to make the playoffs or not. And neither of these teams are going to make the playoffs, and they're both playing with backup quarterbacks. One has already fired their coach. The other probably will. Mike Edwards.
Donovan Smith. And who else? Pacheco's not practicing.
Isaiah Pacheco is not practicing today. Dylan told us that it was Edwards, Smith, and Hill were not practicing today because he saw the number 10 is not practicing.
Hill.
So there you go.
So Drew Tranquil back, second day in a row.
Here's Dave Tobe.
Here you go.
Bills were begging you to run back kickoffs the other night, so why didn't you take them up on it?
Well, like I said before during the week, they were probably the best kickoff team that I've seen. They take pride in pinning people deep. They have a lot of players. We just felt, game plan wise, I felt like if we returned 4 of them and 2 of them were inside the 20, I mean, it's not worth it, for our offense. So we just took the ball to 25.
Is that completely?
That's just it's game to game. It's game to game.
But in this case, you decided it before.
Yeah, we decided it before. Now there was certain kicks that if obviously if we would have got them, we would have took them out. But they just kept giving the same type of kick, and it just wasn't not something we wanted to do in that game.
So what's that read for him like? When does he identify that type of kick balls?
It's really placement, hang time, and placement. Yeah. Where it's going to be, what we have called. You don't want to return a ball that's away from your call. That type of thing. Without getting too detailed of it.
The Patriots special teams. I think there was earlier this year. They had the unusual block on the one. Or was that
Yeah.
Lots of creativity there.
They do. They have a lot of creativity, and it's over the years, of playing those guys. It's obviously it starts with Coach Belichick, with his background in special teams, and they're going to be always strong there as far as personnel goes and design. They have all kinds of stuff that they do, and it's really specific to the team that they play. And it's you never know what you're going to get, so you have to be ready for everything. But that was certainly a good, well-designed play that ended up working out for him.
Hey Dave, just a sort of historical thing I'm working on. You first met Spags in El Paso?
Yeah, because he was friends with. Well, no, I first met Spags at Springfield.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we went to school together.
Oh, that's right.
At Springfield College.
You knew him there.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I knew him then.
And were you the same years?
He was 2 years older than me.
2 years older.
Yeah,
okay.
But we played together. I was there for my freshman and sophomore year before I transferred.
That's okay. And then by the time he came to El Paso, though, he was coming to see.
He was coming. He was friends with T. Lander and had coached with some other guys, and then was coming down. Then he was already coaching.
Do we underrate a little bit the way all you guys sort of you helped Andy come into El Paso? You and Spags at I mean, how much is El Paso part of the nexus here?
El Paso was a big connection, down there, and and it's credit to Bob Stahl putting that staff together, and all the great coaches that we had.
El Paso's the capital of football.
That's yeah, everybody knows that.
I guess also for purposes, I know the owners' meeting has been taking place this week, and I know Troy Vincent talked about yesterday how they're essentially looking to somewhat eliminate the kickoff because of the lack. I know it's like around 20% of the returns and stuff. I'm not talking about it before the season about how the XFL does their kickoff. Do you still kind of what's your feeling on what they're discussing?
I don't think they're ever going to take it away. I think they'll have different. I'm on the committee. I'm one of those guys that's on that committee, and I know Troy doesn't want to take kickoff away. I know that's not his goal. I mean he understands that it's becoming a play that people fair catch, and it's not an important play. It doesn't seem like that to fans. It's boring. But, the XFL rule would put coaching back into the play, because now every kick you got to cover and tackle. So that's definitely something that we're going to look at, and it could possibly come down to that maybe next year or the year after. We're definitely going to look at it.
Dave, there's been a lot of discussion about the penalty at the end of the game the other day with Kadarius line up offsides. Are there little keys in what you guys do in special teams where you have to every single play remind someone, like being
every time on kickoff we have to have our foot on the 34-yard line, and if you're not on the 34-yard line you get a penalty. So those and on kickoff return we have to have 8 players inside the setup zone on kickoff. Has to. One guy's out, boom, you get a flag. So those things it's a constant coaching.
You remind me, like every single time you go out, you just have to kind of be on that, because
you're looking at it. We check each other, every time. Yeah, it's important.
Dave, you said Shamari Carter, the guy that you might miss some time on. Now that you see him get an interception, you make some contributions. You think you can get him less maybe this one?
I hope I get him for the rest of the season. I hope that's the case. But yeah, he's a good football player. He's going to get more and more on defense. In fact, he got 62 plays last game. If you add up everything because I have to look at that all the time. How much is a guy getting? He was the most. So if that continues, I'm going to have to pull him back out, because right now he's a 4-phase guy. He plays on everything right now for me, and that may be something I have to do.
Last one, anybody? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there's Dave Tobin. Yeah, the competition committee is going to look at kickoffs again and everything. And it was a great question about the Bills were kicking it to like the 10-yard line, and each time Richie James was fair catching it, and each time my heart grew bigger and bigger, like it was the Grinch. And the kickoffs were done by Cindy Lou Who each and every time. And he said, well, they're one of the best kickoff teams I've seen. So that was the strategy. And then for him to say, if we return 4 of them and 2 of them end up being inside the 20, it's not worth it.
It's happening.
God bless us, everyone.
I'll go grab some cigarettes while Spags is talking for you.
My goodness, man. This is just, I don't know. It's an early Christmas. It's like Christmas in December. It's just crazy. Oh, wait. It's an early Christmas present, early birthday present for you, Josh.
On the first day of Christmas, Dave Tove gave to me 3 fair catches.
Fair catches on a kickoff.
Probably the third day of Christmas, I guess. I don't know.
That's fine.
Yeah, I was making it up as I went, believe it or not.
It'd be the 25th day of Christmas, that starting the drive on the 25-yard line. Every time. Thank you, Dave.
3 muffed punts.
4 fair. No, not gonna do it.
4th down conversions, 5 failed drives, 6 points for a touchdown.
That's exactly right. Yep, you nailed it.
I don't know, man. I'm still working. Where's Spags?
Yes, Spags, get here. Good morning. By the time he gets here, it's going to be good afternoon. I don't know what time it is.
7 offsides.
Know what time it is. Yeah, I mean, those things that happen on the on
8 teams in the hunt
all the time. Chris and Joe, they're fine.
9 was Juju.
That's right. He was number 9. That is correct, sir.
10 isn't practicing. He may not play.
We'll also hear from Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, who may talk about how often his players line up offsides and how often it should or should not be called. And do they teach that? And how do they teach the guys to line up on sides? Because, again, the ball was at the 49, and he put his foot at the 49. Like, he did that. It wasn't like he was just like, oh, I wasn't even looking, wasn't even paying attention. He looks over, sees the ball, puts his foot right there. Like, it's almost as if that was on purpose.
He was very consistently breaking the rules. It does sort of seem like maybe a feature, not a bug.
Kadarius Toney, a habitual line stepper.
That's true.
Constantly.
Literally standing on it.
Yes. Entire game. Spags anywhere? I will let you know right now that you're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. Knocked that one out of the park.
Bang!
See, that's me doing my job.
That's you being ahead of the sticks right there.
See, there you go. On time.
You handle things.
At any second,
first down.
At any second, this show can go for 6. At any time, we might score.
Any moment.
Unlike the Chiefs' offense. It is that way, though, right? I mean, I know we're going to start talking, and then Spags or
yeah,
Nagy
that's
will.
every single time. It's the hardest part of doing the postgame show is in that window where it's like, all right, we're going to go ahead and Butch, you're on the whoop. Hold on, Butch. We're going to sit you back down because here's Chris. Nope, I'm sorry, not Chris Jones yet. Butch, you're on.
Butch, shut your ass up. We got somebody else that we're going to go to.
15 minutes go by. Chris Jones may be here. I'll take one more. Okay, fine. We'll take one. I've been dancing for 10 minutes.
You just got to go to the bathroom when you get to the restaurant.
Gary, you're on 8.
Order your food. Go to the bathroom. It's there. Because I'm telling you, servers just sit there and they stalk and they wait. They wait. They wait. They're talking about it. Are they going to go? His legs. And they're going to the bathroom. All right, let's get the food. Let's get the food out here. They're going to the bathroom. Here we go. Here we go. You know what? They're not ready to order yet. Not ready to order. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, somebody's not at the table. Here we go. Let me go. Check. What would you guys like? Well, we're still. Are you waiting for some more people? Yeah, that's okay. Great.
Did you see how big of a bite he just took of that burger? I'm gonna go ask if they're doing okay. If they need water or anything.
How's everything taste?
How's everything
Great.
tasty,
All right.
guys?
Thank you. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you.
All right. I'll catch up with you later. Yep. All right. Enjoy.
What we're saying is this is the Chiefs' press conferences.
Usually Spags isn't the one lagging. That's kind of a. I wonder if things are okay back there.
Well, they are having a slow start to the defense as of late.
That's a good point.
They are. It's taking a time for them to get really rolling.
It's ultimately going to reflect on the offense and special teams, but you're right. A slow start for Spags here.
You know, Spags is going to start slow, and then Matt Nagy is going to be 35 minutes behind him, and then Andy Reid's going to go, well, we just need to make sure our defense is getting to the podium on time. What about the offense? We're figuring it out. We're going to get there.
If Spags waits 5 more minutes, he won't even be able to say good morning, good afternoon. It'll just be 12:01. At 12:01, maybe that's what he's doing. He's just waiting for 12:01. Good afternoon.
Good noon, everybody. It's 1 and out. I don't know what it is. He will talk right as the clock hits noon. It's not even afternoon. It is specifically
3,
noon.
2, happy noon.
Happy noon. That's I don't really have anything for you. It's just Patriots this weekend. With that, I'll open up to questions.
I was trying to think what I would have asked Dave Tobe if I had to come up with an extra question there.
Nothing.
You know what hasn't been? We haven't talked about Tommy Townsend's holding this year, and that's been nice. That's just that whole operation's been.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Hold on.
Nice.
My bad.
Are you serious?
Yep. Sorry. Just gotta sneak in the knock on wood.
There's also the free throw jinx that could happen in this game coming up on Sunday because Harrison Butker is 1 kick, field goal or extra point away from tying the Chiefs' all-time record for most consecutive.
Oh.
So he's made 61.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's an extra point because that's only worth 1 when he
The record is 62, held by Harrison Butker.
Man, but it would mean a lot to Harrison Butker to have that record.
Yeah, but Harrison Butker would be pissed because he
you're
thought
right.
that you got to think 62 straight kicks, especially with extra points now.
Yes, absolutely.
That record's going to stand for a while. Butker's got to be mad if that's broken by Butker.
But if Butker doesn't break it, you imagine Butker's going to be like the 72 Dolphins. They're going to pop champagne.
What if he does walk over the sideline and pop champagne after a missed
After
kick?
a miss?
Or does he just want to get to 62 and just like, I don't want to make 2019 to 2020 Harrison Butker mad.
The biggest power move of all might be for him to just get 62 and then to just dirt one on purpose. Just like not even make it look close. Just walk up to the ball and just like kick it straight up James Winchester's whoop. And
we start again.
And you start again, you just get the 62, and then whoop, and then you will be the top 5 longest kicking streaks in Chiefs history will all be be Harrison Butker tied at 1 with 62.
With like 5 or 6 of them. That's great.
I think this is what he should do.
And I don't think that's what he should do, depending on the game. Like, I mean, if he's made 62 and then it's a game-winning field goal, like I don't think he should do that. I think he should go ahead and get the record.
Pretty selfish of him to miss that kick on purpose. You're right. It's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. That would have been. And by the way, the 62 previously was a span over a couple of different seasons for Harrison Butker. This is the longest streak to start a season, in that he has swung his leg 61 times through the football this year, and every single time it's gone through the uprights. Like, it's unbelievable.
So how far back did he miss a kick in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he missed one in the first half.
Was that the last? Was that well? So he would have. It would have extended into.
It's the last kick. That's the last field goal he missed was in the Super Bowl in the first half.
But then he had.
Then he had one late.
One late and a couple extra points.
Yeah.
So I wonder how far back that goes. Interesting.
So it might be. Yeah. Yeah, I should look and see if it's like even even as to the point of starting the season or over the course of a couple of seasons, etc. But yeah, so don't jinx him.
He had the field goal at the end.
I don't need the
extra point.
Here, let me just pull it up right here. Let's see. Yeah, January 61 straight. Here comes Steve Spagnuolo.
Happy noon!
St. Louis with the Rams. We don't have a big enough home now to do that, but all the media came over for a Maria. Yeah, that was and then I know I got a small apartment here in Kansas City, but we could probably fit it in here. I'll work on that. And when I did that early on, I didn't ask for anything in return. I wasn't looking for anybody to be nice or anything, because I knew that wasn't going to work, right? But we did do that. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it.
No pressure. Dick Vermeil used to take us all to
Yeah.
dinner.
He did. He's adding his time for us.
I'll have to let Andy know that. I'll have to tell Andy. I'll give him a little note. All right, I really don't have anything. I'm fired up to get out there. We got to keep grinding away. We want to get better, certainly early in the games, and hopefully we could do that in this one.
Steve, Buffalo did a lot of taking guys out of the backfield, kind of avoiding the blitzes and everything.
Yeah.
That you presented them. Just what are you trying to do to kind of correct those? This is a simple thing or just something we're like,
well, there was one that I tipped my hat off to them that they had seen, and it would have been, even if we did it exactly right, it would have been a tough down to defend. They probably would have got, 10, 12 yards. There was one or two others in there of what you're talking about that we just didn't operate like we should have. We could have taken that away and made them, throw it down, check down, load the touchdown, the first touchdown one. I think we can defend that one and what we were in. But, sometimes, and there are some things that we do, and I know it when I call it, that can be a little risky, but it's a risk reward, right? There's a lot of those that you may or may not know that end up being really good for us because it's challenging for them. But I give them credit on at least the one particular play I'm thinking of. It was a good scheme by them for something that they saw. So we'll get that corrected.
What do you see in Bailey's app?
I tell you what, I see a really good, efficient football player that can move the ball. I mean, and then I was watching one of the TV games because sometimes I put the TV games on to hear and he's won football games for him. I think they're doing the right things with him. I mean, to me, when they've got either of those running backs going, I think their quarterback becomes really pretty good. And I know they've had injuries at wide out and but those two tight ends now that are both healthy, I think they can be a little bit of a stress on us. We've got to be cautious of that. We probably haven't played. I'd have to think back at the teams we played, but these two tight ends as pass catchers are as good a twosome as I think we've faced.
It should probably be a physical challenge as well, the way they play. It's a little more old school.
Yeah.
So is that a different emphasis for you this week?
Well, it's not a different emphasis because I'm always talking about that. When teams can be two-dimensional, it makes it tough on us. We're always talking about killing the engine. The engine to us is the running back. We gotta make sure that they don't get him going, and they won't give up on trying to do that. We understand that. Coach Belichick, best in the business, he understands that their defense is terrific. I told the guys the other day that we need to match or be better than their defense to help our team win, and a lot of that is early in the game because we just don't want to be Patrick to be having to go out in the middle of the second quarter down 14 points. I mean, that's tough on any offense. But they're challenging because they play as a team, they win as a team, they find ways to win, and you're on to something. I mean, if we don't bow up and play a physical game to match their physicality, they'll make it tough.
Through the lens of your long coaching career, just how rare is it to have two cornerbacks with Snead and McDuffie have been able to do this year?
To how versatile they are. Yeah, pretty unique, and that's credit to both of those guys. Like, we haven't had to play LJ inside as much, and you guys all know he can do that. Matter of fact, we just walked through a couple of snaps with him in there just in case, right? You get the injury situation. But Trent gives us a lot of flexibility, and you saw it last week. Chamari Connor is coming on. We knew it was going to be a little bit of a slow process, but anytime we're able to put him in there and keep those two guys outside is good for us. We don't always do it because we like to get the other guys out there too. But having versatility, in any group, but especially in the secondary is big.
The interception, his interception. Can you just take us through that? What he did really well.
Yeah, he was in man, and one of the other defenders cut his guy, and he came off it, and he was supposed to play with eyes, which he did. He found an available hole, and I don't think Josh Allen saw him because he was coming from the backside. It was a really good play. It was where he was supposed to be eventually. At first, it looked a little shaky, but then he got there.
Is that kind of the definition, Steve, of my job plus? I know you talked about that.
Well, he was actually doing his job on that one. I couldn't give him a plus on that. He was doing his job. If he hadn't done that, he would have been in trouble.
Facing Juju Smith-Schuster, what you remember from facing?
I love Juju. He's an elite competitor. LJ and I were talking about that in Trent, and he's still playing good football. And he'll be hungry, right? It's his former team. Didn't we face a wideout? Who did we face this year? Or maybe I'm thinking of him.
Tyreek.
Yeah, Tyreek was one. Yeah, McCall originally with the Jets. Yeah, but I think I loved Juju when he was here. I hope he doesn't play real well this week, but I'm always rooting for him.
What's the most nervous thing about facing the team? 3-10, obviously they're out of the playoff race, but when you look at, people say this could be a get-back game for the Chiefs. Well, I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh thought that after losing Arizona.
Yeah, no, we don't ever talk in those terms. Like, it's not go play somebody and get healthy and get good. You can't. I mean, with a New England Patriot team, I would never think that way. I wouldn't. I don't really care what their record is, and quite honestly, all we do is, defensively, is focus on the 11 guys on offense, or however many they put out there that we have to go against. Our job's never going to change. I mean, it's deny points on the board, right, so that our offense can get some and win the football game. But we got too much respect for the coaches there, the players there, what they do. I've seen them move that football now, and that's what we can't have happen.
Coach, we just talked to Nick Bolton, and he says he doesn't feel like he's in full condition yet. But yet, mentally, the guy knows the game, whatever. So, how did you see him come out, and are you seeing him take the next step in practice?
Yeah, he's a little banged up, and I feel it's unfortunate for Nick because, you had the ankle, right, and then the wrist. It's just been one of those years for him, and he's fighting through some other bumps and bruises that you get when you haven't played, and then all of a sudden you go and play again. We tried to spell him. You probably saw in there that Jack went in early. That was planned because you don't want to get. We wanted to make sure, and it did get to. I think we were in the low 70s for plays, and if that happened, we want him fresh at the end because we need all our guys at the end of the game. But he's getting there. He probably answered better than I could, but we love having him in there because of what he does in managing the game for us.
Go to Nate to finish this off.
Steve, two guys kind of in the reserve role right now, but Neil Farrell and Mike Pennell, just what are they doing right now in practice, and how might their opportunities come later in the year?
Joe and I talked about that. I mean, part of that is we feel like the guys that have been out there have done a pretty solid job. I mean, but we'll always have our eye on that, and at any time that can change. And we just, a guy like Mike's been in it a long time, and Neil's been around, and probably not easy for them because they've been in games, right? But they still work. They work really hard, and they're just waiting for that opportunity when, hey, we say you go in there and do it, and then they got to step up and be who we think they can be. That'd be really important.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, you got it. Enjoy.
All right, there's Steve Spagnuolo. Something about meatballs there at the beginning about maybe not feeding the team or something like that with meatballs. But Dick Vermeil taking the media out in the specs. Well, let Andy Reid know that. Pass that along. Also, they faced Juju, a former wide receiver, and they faced somebody else this year, former wide receiver. Not really sure who it is. Wait, that's right. It was Tyreek Hill. Here's Matt Nagy.
Well, I don't mean that in a bad, not in a bad way.
Matt, there's a couple plays where it seemed like the communication at the line of scrimmage was a little off between, Pat. Just kind of walk us through those plays, and you hope that this isn't the occurrence that's now we're in December. You hate to see it happen like that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want. You want to be able to get up to the line of scrimmage and play as fast as you can. You have those sometimes when things happen in a game, whether it's over the course of time or you look back at different situations. You got different guys coming in at different times. You want to reduce those to a minimum or to nothing. So we had a few of those, and I think the biggest thing is making sure that we understand, okay, listen, if we're going to have different guys coming in and out of the huddle each play, we want to make sure that we as coaches are practicing that as much as possible, and those guys are doing it then on game day, and so that when we get up to the line of scrimmage, it's clean, it's sharp, there's no confusion, and you have that being completely clear. You have that all the time, more than probably you think. But you just don't want to have the ones where you're crossing the ball or you're communicating and just the clock's ticking down and now you feel like you're fast on the play. And we had a few of those that we want to make sure, and that's my job, is to make sure that, hey, whatever's going on communication-wise during the week in practice and then on game day, that's clean, and we got to learn through that.
Coach Cardarius, Tony just talked to us in there. Are you working with him this week the way maybe you did with Javon Taylor, this is where you need to be mindful of it? Is that kind of being stressed this week?
Yeah, it was early on, and he knows it continues, but he also, I think it's a good teaching moment for all of us, for me as a coordinator, for all of us as coaches, for KT. Obviously, none of it was intentional. And I think that's the frustrating part for all of us, is in a moment like that, that KT didn't do that, maliciously or intentional. And it's a big moment in the game, but it is what it is, and we got to learn from that. If we don't use this lesson to make us better, and it doesn't just have to be being all sides on offense, it's just in general the rules of the game and making sure that we lock in on that and we understand it and use it to our benefit. But at the same point in time, when the guys got back in the next day and we talked as a group and unit, we're in this thing together. This isn't about one person losing and winning a game. And I think that's probably the biggest message is that when we have an opportunity to win a game, whether it's in the first quarter or whether it's in the fourth quarter to finish it, whether it's 4-minute or 2-minute, behind or winning, we need to do that. We need to finish it. And we can get caught up and be on all sides in the play that was taken back, but let's not get caught up on 2nd and 15, 3rd and 15, and 4th and 15. We have a chance with 1:12, 2 timeouts, down 3. We're going to, at worst, tie the game. We need to go down there and win the game, and we didn't do that. And that's, I think, that's the thing that we got to take from this, is if we want to be a championship Super Bowl level team, that's got to be a mindset of finishing. And and it's not a criticism, it's just where we're at. And we've been through this where we start fast, we get leads, Jets, Dolphins, and then we don't finish. Or we get behind the last 3 weeks, 14-0, 14-3, 14-0, and we get behind, we don't start fast. We have a chance to finish and we didn't do it. So that's the stuff that let's dig into that, and let's understand now, when we don't have penalties, when we don't have turnovers, when we execute like we did at the end of the first half and the start of the third quarter last week, we're a pretty good football team offensively, and we help our defense and special teams out. Let's take that first part of the year, the second part of where we're at now, and let's put it all together these next 4 games, starting with New England, and let's get a win. And everything else will take care of itself. But we need to be hard on ourselves as coaches. The players need to do it. And this is where I think real leaders step up. And this is where it's about us. It's not about anybody else. And if you can't be a professional about this as a coach or and as a player, you shouldn't be in this profession.
I want to follow up on that note. I know you talked about, it's no one's fault as it relates to being outside. I know Patrick was asked yesterday about accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was something I asked him about EB, and he said that he held him accountable. When you look at the drops, lead the league in drops of 33, who was holding, i.e. the coaches or the players, accountable so those drops don't continue to increase that has an adverse effect on how the team is playing and, to win the loss? Yeah, no,
well, number one, it starts with me, making sure that I, as an offensive coordinator, make sure that these players know that they're accountable, whether that's in practice, getting more catches, whether it's a mindset. It starts with me. So I got to make sure that we're doing that. We as coaches, and that's me coaching the coaches as well, and us doing it together. The players need to do it as well. And again, it's for me more than anything, it has been, we started out at the beginning of the year, we talked about it, and it naturally goes away, but it's still happening. And so we got to make sure that we talk about it, we do everything we can to fix it. And so I can't tell you anything other than we need to just keep making sure that we emphasize it. And then when they get an opportunity to catch the ball, they do it. And we handle it the right way. Yeah, go ahead.
For people who are listening to see it for the first time, what does that accountability look like when you say, like, when you're saying you're holding the players, coaches? What does that look like?
Yeah, there's discussions in the building, and again, I'm not going to get into how or what. I mean, there's, and you mentioned EB. I have so much respect for EB. He's one hell of a coach, and there's so many coaches in this league that have different coaching styles of how they handle and how they do things, and so I would just say that our coaches on staff and myself and Coach Reed, every player is different on how they handle being coached. And so there's a little bit of that too with how you handle certain guys. Some can handle tough criticism, others can't. So there's a feel to it. But in the end, we got to make sure that the product out there is scoring touchdowns and winning football games.
Matt, along the drop side of things, there's a tendency always that whoever the star player is, well, let's turn to him. He needs to do it. And so it seems to always come around, well, Pat's got to do a little bit more. You worry that there's a frustration level that comes with him when guys are dropping. I mean, you're number one in drops, and so that's an issue. And that there's a tendency to think, well, Pat's going to come save the day, and even more gets put on his plate.
Yeah, I understand the question, and I think it's probably natural when you just said. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that we do lead the league in drops, so you can start there. So now, when are the drops coming? Why are they coming? There's certain reasons to that, and I think Pat wants to make sure that he can do everything he can to win the game. And if that means that he gets frustrated because he feels like he has to do more or whatever, that's probably a little bit natural. But at the same point in time, I don't think that's why. I think that for him, he just wants to win however we do it. And however he can help doing it, we believe in all these guys, and we understand that he's got to be a leader too in this moment. And like, how can we make sure that he's doing everything possible as well?
You said leader. Listen, he always comes out here, he never throws anybody under the bus. He always says he needs to play better. Mm-hmm. On TV, we don't see him go after guys. We've seen Tom Brady go after teammates. Is there a time and place where Pat is the guy that needs to hold somebody accountable, that if Pat blows up on somebody, maybe that would be the thing that needs
Well, I think he does a good job at that, honestly. And there's a lot that everybody sees on Sunday or whenever the game is, and you see that moment for 3 hours. But there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes that you don't get to see, that we do get to see. And I think, respectfully, that's probably one of Pat's strengths, is he's so good at being able to lead without having to show a million different ways of how he does it for 3 hours on game day. I think you felt his emotion and passion for the love of the game. He came out the next day and said he wished he would have handled it differently. The emotions are real in the moment. It's hard. It's not easy. So many people talk about the 24-hour rule. When you lose, you say things and you do things you probably wish you didn't do or say. But can you accept it and be able to move on from it and learn? And I think the leadership-wise, there's no better leader than Patrick Mahomes. And I mean that. I really mean that. Like, he does it in different ways, and no one has a better feel than Pat of understanding the differences of how you handle one person versus another. Like, you might be able to handle yelling and screaming, and I might not be able to. Pat understands that. Some people don't understand that. And so I think, like, as a leader in whatever sport, whatever thing you do you have that feel and that instinct? And he has it, and it's not always on 3 hours on Sunday.
A couple of things we've heard a lot of talk about this lining up offsides thing. We all know that the receiver's supposed to look over and do that. But organizationally, as a group of coaches, you guys have a lot of coaches. During the game, do you have someone, quality control person or something, kind of looking at those things too, counting 11 guys in the field, doing those type things? What is that? How does that work mechanically during the game?
We do. The counting of the players is a must. You have to have that in all phases, offense, defense, and usually special teams a lot. So you have that. And if you get into the whole alignment thing, I mean, that's something that I think the communication between the referees and players usually is pretty good, and it's back and forth. So in the moment, me not so much, just with my role and what I'm doing, but we do have guys that are always on that kind of stuff. And again, like, I've been a part of it as a head coach too, where you have discussions with the referees in between timeouts or during the game. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm giving you a warning. Tell him to get back. If he doesn't, I'm gonna call flag. You have that all the time. So, I think that's a credit to the refs. They do a good job with that, and we have people on our side that do it as well.
Last two, Adam and Pico.
Yep.
Matt, you talked a minute about the early deficits you've got
Yeah.
in place, 14, 11, and 14. What kind of impact has that had, you feel like, on your play calling? Does that change things in any significant way?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're down 14-0 in the first quarter last week. You have I think more than anything, we keep going back to reducing penalties, reducing turnovers, and watch what happens, right? If you just do that. We have 4 penalties and a turnover in the first half last week. When we didn't have a penalty, when we didn't turn the ball over, we were pretty effective in the red zone. Good things happened. We scored. We creeped back into the game to the moment we talked about when we first started in here, to have a chance to finish. So are we starting games? Are we finishing? We've been doing both. Let's put it together like we did against the Chargers. Let's put it together like we did against the Bears. And let's see what happens when we do that. Complement it with the defense, complement it with special teams. The beauty is we're 8-5, and we've built an opportunity for us to worry about New England right now and get back on the winning track. And they are one great defense. We haven't even talked about them. This is a really good defense. And I mean, their numbers speak for themselves. So we got to lock in on that. I know we're back here talking about all the KT stuff, but we have to teach that and move on, and that's where we're at.
Last one.
This might be a silly question, but on the cross-field lateral, is that just a once-in-a-lifetime, like, hey, don't do that again, glad it worked, or is that like a viable X's and O's maybe advantage? Because, Andy has kind of said that he works on that stuff. So, like, how okay are you with that being like a semi-regular type of move?
Yeah. If the moment is where he's that wide open, there's probably not many people that are going to do that other than Kelsey to start. That said, what's crazy, and I always remember when Coach started saying that this really started to take course here was doing this in practice and training camp all the time. It's a beautiful technique, that being able to practice that, and sometimes you take it for granted. It starts because it makes people hustle to the ball to block and to be a part of it. But then sometimes when you do that and you travel towards the ball, that happens, then you have Kelsey throwing you the ball. Not many people will do it. You can think probably all of us in here of Kelsey doing 2 or 3 of those for real. And so when it works, you're like, keep doing it. When it doesn't, you say never do it again. But Kels understands. I mean, that's just what he has. And so it would have been a beautiful play to end on. Again, they were going to get the ball back, but that's that with Kels.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, take care.
All right, there's Matt Nagy and Dave Tobe and Steve Spagnuolo. We will talk about different things that we heard from the 3 coordinators. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We got some sports or leisure coming up at 1 o'clock. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. 913-912-4810. Text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. So while the coordinators talked, the locker room was open, and there was a clip from the locker room, courtesy Aaron Ladd, KSHB 41. We're fans of his and others not everybody, but his and almost everybody but one. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
okay.
pretty
There's
much.
just one person.
I was gonna say easier to count the people we don't like.
Yeah,
though.
The only one we don't like there is obviously Nick Jacob. No, we actually like him. He's great.
No, Aaron and Nick's I guess technically
Yeah.
boss seems like a real.
McKenzie's great.
Rhymes with Nick.
That's right. Yes.
I thought it was Nick. Is it not Nick?
Rick Jacobs.
I thought
Close. Yes.
All right, so Aaron Ladd in the locker room got a chance to talk with Kadarius Toney. This is a very short clip, but here's Kadarius Toney meeting with the media and Aaron Ladd with a little Q&A.
Did they tell you anything about your alignment? Because they went back and kind of looked at how you were lined up throughout the entire game, and it really kind of seemed like it was similar on that last play. Did they tell you anything throughout the game?
Nah, they didn't. And then they came back alive and said they gave me a warning, which I never talked to a ref. But like I said, man, we're moving forward. I ain't really studying that. That's small, full spectrum. We moving forward, man. We're not thinking about that no more.
Okay. There you go. Full spectrum. Not thinking about that anymore. I don't remember the referee saying they gave him a warning. I don't remember that at all.
I mean, that might. I wonder if a ref in the aftermath in the next 30 seconds, if he went and said, "Whoa, nobody said anything." If one of the refs said, "I warned you," I don't know, but we have no evidence of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I don't know. Even if they came back and said they gave him one, I don't think Andy Reid and the rest of the wide receivers are just going to sit out there and lie and go, no, they never gave us a warning.
Right.
I think at that point, if they got a warning and he lined up offsides, I think Andy Reid would say, we got to fix that. These are the things that are happening. We were told. That's typically how it happens. That's communication that goes there. That's what the officials and how that relationship has gone. And we got to be better. These are things we have to clean up, and we'll get it. We'll clean it up. It starts with me. We're going to clean these things up. We're close. We're right there. I don't think it would be as upset and embarrassing for the NFL, and you get a warning, and this is would the official have just simply warned Kadarius Toney off on his own if he's saying that he – but again, I haven't heard anybody say that he got a warning. Maybe Kadarius Toney is confused and thinking that them saying it was so egregious it wasn't worth a warning, that they don't always have to warn you. You can check with the official, but he doesn't have to respond. It's not in the rule book to give a warning, and when it's so egregious like that, there's really no – warning needed to be given, although, as I'll continue to point out, it was not nearly as egregious as it's been made out to be because, people like to say, the blue line is not official. I agree, it's not official, and it's not on the field either. But that blue line was directly in line with the down marker, which is where his foot was on the blue line, which the other ones in the game, his foot was on the blue line, which was directly in line with the down marker. The difference on this one is that Creed Humphrey, again, pulled the ball back to the 49.5-yard line, 49.5-yard line, excuse me. What the hell kind of yard line is that?
I don't know. Nice one.
Wow, it's like a crazy. Yeah, they were at the 70-yard line. What are you 8?
I don't know, man. The way the Chiefs' offense has been going, it feels like they've been having to get back across at least 140 yards.
Hope the Chiefs' offense hit a 3-pointer this drive. That'd be great,
Knock one in here, guys.
Yeah, that would be that would be awesome. Just hit the back of the net if they can get there.
You don't need a 3 here. You can take a quick 2 and foul.
Yeah, it's one timer. Come on, just one timer. Come on. But sitting at the 49.5-yard line, and again, as I've said, the line judge is looking right down the line on the video that's out there with Kadarius Toney's foot and the ball laying at the 49-yard line. And when Creed Humphrey then grabs it and pulls it back, that's when the line judge moves and says, "Well, he's blocking the football for me." Yeah, I know, but the football wasn't being blocked when it was at the 49. So that's why I don't find it to be as egregious as it's being made out to be. It was still offsides. He was still in the neutral zone, and it was not the wrong call. The argument is what is the execution of how the game goes along, and how do you police the game if you're the official and say, well, we're going to give him a warning, we're not going to give him a warning, whatever that might be. That's my main pushback to the officials after the game that were like, well, a warning is not needed when it's that egregious. It was the to me, the same egregious nature as the other ones that Dan Orlovsky showed. The difference being the still shot is like, well, look how far in front of the ball he is. Yeah, the blue line is not official. But that blue line may not be official, but it was directly connected to the down marker, which was at the 49-yard line. So Jalen Waddle on Monday night, his foot right there on the blue line. Same spot that Kadarius Toney's was. That wasn't so egregious that you had to call it, but still line up in the right spot. Like, that's where the small little details get missed. And Matt Nagy's saying, well, yeah, during the game, it's kind of hard for me in that situation. But quality control, guys like that, yeah, we're counting to 11 every single time. Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Spinal Tap. But what about being on the line of scrimmage or being lined up in the right spot? How often does Patrick Mahomes have to go and, direct traffic for guys to just be in the correct place that they're supposed to be in on a, we get the call. Oh, wait, I'm on this side. I'm on that side of the field. Hey, no, you're over here. All right, now you're set. Okay, great. Now I can look at the defense and figure out what they're doing now that you're in the proper place. So there's an extra 7 seconds we just lost to figure things out.
And even with that sort of the line of egregiousness, and if it's this, all of your caveats with it also, just like off the side. If that was 15% more egregious than all of the times he was lining up, not egregiously offsides, but technically letter of the law by the centimeter, by the note card and the chains, he would have been offsides. That's when you want to warn them, right? I mean, to say, hey, I'm not calling it here because you're real close, but you're really creeping way up toward this line of scrimmage. If you want to make sure you keep yourself safe here going forward, just watch it. Because you've been close enough for me to think about calling a couple of times. Instead of waiting until the fourth quarter, flag goes up. Again, Mitch Holtis's call of it was, I hadn't heard the radio call of that play until yesterday, and I think I'm paraphrasing now, but it was something like, he's doing play-by-play and might be a free play, I believe was the call.
Yeah,
because you see a flag go up and a play not stop at the line of scrimmage, you assume free play.
Yeah, because looking back, yeah, he was offsides, and as I'm looking at the overall screen, like I'm seeing, what's the defense doing? Are they creeping up? Is Mahomes audibling, right? What's who's in the backfield? Where's Rashee Rice? Travis? Like, all of these things are happening, and then they snap the ball, and I'm then watching, as most people do, then watching the offensive line and watching Mahomes step back, and you see the flag fly, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing an offsides or a defensive offsides. And as that play was going on, and I'm like, he laterals it back, and me and my son are like, son's going crazy and celebrating. I'm like, I think this is coming back. We're high fiving, but like, buddy, I think this is coming back. I think that was illegal formation,
right,
or illegal shift, something, because I didn't see a player offsides. Nobody jumped, and I didn't see anybody lined up offsides, because that would have been pretty obvious. Because I'm looking at the defensive side, I'm not looking at the offensive side for lined up offsides. But I'm like, I think this one's coming back, and then they called offsides on the offense, and like, son of a gun. So I never really got to the point of like fully invested of, this is awesome, this is amazing, I can't believe what I'm watching with this play here, like I did in the AFC Championship game with D Ford offsides.
Right.
Not knowing that flag flew.
Yep.
And then seeing the interception and, oh my God, Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. And then Tony Romo was so right all year. Like, he burst onto the scene with all of these predictions and everything that was happening. And I think the first time he was wrong when he said, Jim, I think this is on the Patriots. Jim, this play's going to stand. That's an intercept. Offsides, D Ford. Damn you, Tony. You made it worse. You set me up for failure. You set me up for disappointment. You did that on you lifted me up and then pulled the rug right out from under me. Come on, Tony. You've been right about everything. You're never wrong. But I actually embraced and enjoyed that. Like, oh my gosh, like, it's happening. Beep, beep. Balloon. Air right out. This one I never really, I didn't see it being on the defense. I thought it was illegal formation. That's what I thought it was. I thought there weren't enough guys on the line of scrimmage or something. Obviously not on Jawan Taylor, because it was on the side that Wanya Morris was on. It was coming from the Chiefs sideline. And no matter where Jawan Taylor's lined up, the illegal formation is not coming from the Chiefs sideline. We know that. All of them have been called on the other team's sideline. But that one came from the Chiefs sideline.
Yeah.
That offsides.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
Yeah, then, if that was from the other side, I mean, you don't have to hold back Patrick Mahomes. He's not running across the field when the other team has the ball to try to get at the official or anything like that.
So because it was on the Chiefs sideline, does Andy have a point of that there's never been a ref that says to the coaching staff behind him, hey, 19's on the line, you better get him on. Like, he doesn't just say that as part of his relationship with that sideline, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, which is a very interesting point. Yeah.
It would have been really, really easy for him to look around and find Andy Reid and to say, hey, yeah. It would have been after the play, and that play would never have actually – that conversation probably never would have happened because that was a scoring play. But, yeah, that's a good point there too, Dylan.
Yeah, about time.
Listen, he changed his phrasing while he was up in the air there and saved himself from a cut. So that was I was also proud of that adjustment.
Inadvertently too, so I had no idea.
Great route adjustment by you.
Tex says offensive offside should be treated like false start, and this wouldn't have happened. Well, I mean, it's a free play for the defense then. You take away the opportunity in the free play for the defense. If they get an interception or a fumble or something like that, well, then they get their choice. Sort of like when the defense is offside, you get a free play. But, yeah, I mean, if he was running forward, then, yeah, you got to stop the play there. So 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show, part of the conversation as well. Some things coming in saying, said, I'm with KT. It's Thursday. Let's go and let's move on. Yeah, I mean,
it's totally cool that you're there, but Kadarius Toney had not talked about it yet, so we needed to still hear from Kadarius Toney.
That's exactly right. Tex says, is the wide receiver coach that's the issue? If you said, is it this that's the issue, my answer is probably going to be yes.
Yep.
To whatever fill in the blank. Is it fill in the blank the issue? Yes. Unless you say Mahomes' ability to quarterback. And I would say no. But is it the wide receivers coach's issue? Yeah. Is it Andy Reid? Yeah. Is it the players? Yeah. Is it the players they chose to play those positions? Yeah. I mean, a lot of it right now for what we're seeing with this team and the inability for them to get to a level of representative play for a wide receiver in the NFL when they're leading the league in drop passes.
It's very hard to pinpoint who the problem is or what the biggest problem is. It's difficult to do from the outside. It's difficult for the Chiefs to do.
It's me.
If the Chiefs if you're the problem,
I'm
it's
the
you.
problem. It's me.
If you could just make one sweeping change to solve the problems, they would have done it by now. But I do think you can ask, hey, is this guy helping? Is this person a part of the solution, as we played that game earlier? Is this person making other people around them better? Mahomes is. Andy Reid probably is. Travis Kelce is. I don't know who else is, though. And that list being that short is concerning.
I don't have to carry the water for Patrick Mahomes. The guy's, getting paid $500 million.
Carry some water for free.
And the face of the NFL. So I don't have to be the guy that, no, you're going to come to the defense constantly of Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to carry Patrick Mahomes' water.
So, but it does, this week really annoyed me in terms of national reaction.
Me too.
So the video by the NFL was tweeted out with the interaction between Josh Allen and Travis Kelce. I don't know if you saw that or not. I'm assuming you did. Most people did.
Yes, many times.
When Travis Kelce said, greatest play that doesn't count. Hey, keep killing, man. Stay healthy, man. Keep doing your thing. And everybody, and a lot of the reaction was, see, there's Travis Kelce, just classy. Maybe he look a good sport. Maybe he should teach his quarterback how to lose with class. Oh, look, at least somebody on the Chiefs knows how to lose with class. Well, at least he's not that crybaby Mahomes that doesn't know how to lose a game. And just all of these reactions, and I know it's Twitter, right? It's what you're going to get, and people don't pay attention to everything. But it is annoying in that, over the years, when the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes gets battered and bruised in the Super Bowl, and after the game is over, runs up to Tom Brady and says, "You're a legend, man. You're a legend, dude. Keep doing it." And then Tom Brady's like, "Yeah, man, stay in touch. It's you just lost the Super Bowl, dude, and you're having surgery on your foot a week later, and it's like, you're a legend, man. Awesome." I went back and found the tweet from the NFL mic'd up, Chiefs and Bengals AFC Championship game 2021, when the Bengals won. And Patrick Mahomes meets Joe Burrow in the middle, and they shake hands, and Patrick Mahomes says, "Keep doing your thing, man. You killed it. Go win it all." And as he's walking away, says, "Go win it all," Joe Burrow looks and then sort of does a double take, like, "Oh, awesome, man. Appreciate it." And the reactions are like, Mahomes is so classy. Love Mahomes. That's how you lose. What a great guy. You know what? If it wasn't for the Chiefs, if it was, and like there were Bengals fans who are like, you know what? If we lost this game, I would totally be rooting for the Chiefs. Patrick's easy to root. Like, it's just like all of these responses, just that's how you lose. Oh, wow. Even Joe Burrow was taken aback from Mahomes telling him to go and win it. And then this one is, he's a terrible sport. He's a crybaby. He's a loser. He doesn't know how to take it with grace. You know, he's the face of the NFL. Act like it. This guy's crying all the time about a flag and the officials. And literally the week before, he excused the officials. Absolutely egregious miscall.
And my favorite are the people on Twitter who have said, that's it. I've had it. I can't take it. I've lost respect for this man after one misstep, basically,
which
in
is
the
what
public eye
which is
over
what they've
5
been,
years.
But it's what they've been waiting for,
I was
right?
just about to say that.
Yeah, sorry.
They had that in the drafts. They were waiting. They are most regionally located in Boston. That is basically...
You're not wrong. And Cincinnati.
True. And I was about to also say, to your point, how much has changed since that tweet and the response to his post-game interaction with Joe.
Yeah. But it's also, I think it actually goes to point to his constantly talking, being in front of a camera, in the media, and this is the first time. Like you said, like people had those in the drafts. Yeah, and they had to wait 5 years.
Yep.
5.5 years. 5 years of starting. 5.5 years they had to wait. This guy has lost the Super Bowl, lost a AFC Championship game in overtime, lost another AFC Championship game in overtime in which he was crap in the second half, and it was the first time he ever could look back and go, we're not playing anymore because of me. It's me. Hi, I had a terrible game. I made bad decisions. I did not look at open receivers. I had happy feet. I was leaving clean pockets. I did not play well at all. And it's the first time he left a season saying, my bad. And yet he still went to Joe Burrow and said, man, go win it all.
He had us four here playing offensive line in a Super Bowl. And he said, to this day, still says, I was just trying to make a big play. I wasn't taking the checkdowns.
Yeah, not going to do it. Trying to get the big play there. Like, you're right. It took 5.5 years for somebody to finally see a misstep and then go, see, I knew this guy's a diva. And, you know, this. I think one of the things that bothers him, too, and maybe if he was asked directly about this, is the week that the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominees came out. And Patrick Mahomes is the Chiefs' Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. And they talked about that during the game. And then that's his reaction as the first time being nominated for Walter Payton Man of the Year for the Chiefs.
Yep.
I think that probably doesn't sit well with him either. And that's the memory people have of that game coming out of it. Because we're not talking nearly enough nationally about Josh Allen and the plays that he made and about Chiefs fans knowing what it's like to watch another team with Patrick Mahomes just do something stupid. And the measurement was, according to Next Gen Stats, 0.2 yards away his heel from touching the out-of-bounds marker when the ball left his fingertip.
Amazing.
0.2 yards away from his heel touching, and he throws that pass. And again, the 25-yard pass on 3rd and 6 to Hardy when he's flat-footed and just throws it sort of to his side on a dime rope. Like, that's just next-level special stuff. And we're talking about the reaction after the game. We're not talking about Buffalo Bills turning things around. We're not talking about Sean McDermott going in the locker room and saying, mission accomplished. You know, we're not doing any of that stuff right now. We're discussing, you know, a correct call, unfortunately. But, again, I don't have to carry the water for him. But it's kind of infuriating when it's like constantly his entire career has been taking the high road, crediting the opposition, the other quarterback, talking
blaming
about how
himself
great
for things that are clearly not his fault.
Yeah. And then this one, it boils over. He loses his cool, and it's, see, I told you he was faking the whole time. There's the true and real Patrick Mahomes. The other stuff was just faking. And, oh, yeah, I want to do it so I can be a good person. Yeah, you say that now. But what about in the moment? It's easy to overreact with your temper and then apologize later. But what about, like, I mean, it's just like, you know, the first misstep, even if you want to call it that.
Also, the Michael Jordan quote of, you've never won anything, so, you know, who cares what you think, basically, from The Last Dance.
Yeah, the lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the lambs, right? We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. One other thing, too, that thought was ironic. The same calendar year. So, like the video that we're talking about that Josh Allen and Travis Kelce are talking, and everybody's like, "Oh, Travis Kelce, what a good." I really like Oh man, I like Travis Kelce. So what a great guy. Same calendar year, Travis Kelce was bleep you because he was the jabroni Burrowhead my ass. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. Not nan one of y'all thought we could do this. Kelce, shut up, man. Like what the hell? I like Kelce. What a good sport. What a great. Knows how to lose.
Also the same season that Sean McDermott just left-swiped Brian Dable right out of the head coach handshake after a game.
That's a good point, yeah.
Just thought of that one again.
And by the way, Josh Allen told Travis Kelce the ballsiest play ever. I'm pretty sure he said that to Mahomes, too, right before Mahomes then said, bad call.
but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Josh Brisco, Dylan Michaels, 913-381-0810. Load them up, first in, first on, a little sports or leisure today. As it relates to the Chiefs and practicing, if you're just tuning in, Isaiah Pacheco for the now fifth straight practice, did not practice, missed all three practices last week, missed yesterday's, did not practice today as well. Drew Tranquil returned to practice. Leo Chanel returned to practice after being sick. Donovan Smith still out. But yeah, Pacheco, the big one, in that this is now a second straight week that it looks like he's not going to practice. We'll see if he gets even limited tomorrow. But we'll find out. It is a defense that's really good against the run in the New England Patriots, but that's just an update as far as practices go.
And again, Mike Edwards
injuries.
at this point, especially with Brian Cook being out, Mike Edwards might be.
Yeah.
He and Chanel were both out sick yesterday, and like you said, Chanel's back today.
Mm-hmm.
Edwards not practicing again today. With it being an illness, maybe he practices on Friday and he's good to go.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Chiefs are going to go out there with Justin Reed and Shamari Connor and Deion Bush up from the practice squad. I mean, that's the territory we're in right now.
And against Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, so maybe not a bad time to not have the cap your defense.
Probably what the Steelers thought too, but
Yeah.
we'll find out. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Playing sports or leisure, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We are giving away Johnny's Tavern, 10 locations, best area sports bar with Lawrence and Topeka locations. They have the Monday discount, however many points the Chiefs score. The Monday after a Chiefs game, you get that percentage off a whole specialty pizza. It is dine-in only with that, with Johnny's Tavern, but the 18-inch New York-style specialty pizzas for every Monday after a Chiefs game, they give you that percentage off. Go to johnnystavern.com, $25. How you play the game, you give us a call, 913-381-0810. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question, you get them both right, you win the prize, you win $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Get either of them wrong, you lose. The question is out there available for someone to call in and request. We give out the answer when somebody answers it correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play, and it is a question that we have already asked. That's how we play the game. We'll give you some categories here in just a little bit. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. I did want to get into this quick little nugget as far as the owners' meetings and the NFL, the officiating matters that were going on in Dallas, or whatever the winter meeting was called.
I think if it's a little nugget, it's technically a nuggie.
I'll explain the winter meeting again, but with those nuggies.
There we go.
Owners discussed the tush-push play, but right now there's not much momentum to change that. The sample size of the play is too small to conclude there's any enhanced injury risk. Quote, Philly does it better than everyone else. That's a fact. You don't want to punish anyone for doing something well. That's Troy Vincent that said that. So it doesn't sound like there's momentum to eliminate that play because, as they said, too small a sample size to see if it actually is an injury risk by pushing. Because, again, I'm not a big slippery slope, guy. But if you then eliminate the push, are you then just going to say, well, now let's eliminate the scrum? We don't want quarterbacks.
Right.
But it's perfectly fine. Let the play happen. And I don't even think the push is that big of a part of it. I think it's the interior guys and the fact that Jason Kelce ends up being 5 yards downfield somehow.
And Jalen Hurts helps. Like that.
Having a middle linebacker be your
Yes.
quarterback.
And having a middle linebacker playing center, actually,
Yeah.
weirdly.
Right.
Yeah.
The guy's you got a quarterback who's a power forward. But
media, we have collectively spent a lot of time on what I think is the least important part of that play being as successful as it is, which is the wide receivers in the backfield pushing Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Devontae Smith is great. I don't think his shove is right up there with the effort that Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce are putting into that play.
That's
Dude
right.
weighs 115 pounds.
That's right. A couple of other nuggies. The NFL is discussing the merits of a fumble through the end zone, resulting in a touchback for the defense. Packers president Mark Murphy called the rule, quote, too punitive. Changes to the current rule could come in the offseason. And we've talked about the hip drop tackle. Tyreek Hill happened on Monday night. The NFL considers the hip drop tackle a, quote, gruesome play, per Troy Vincent, but it won't outlaw hustle plays or from-behind tackles. The chief concern is the grip, rotate, drop tactic that is increasing injury rate. NFL research shows the hip drop tackle carries 20 to 25 times the injury risk of a traditional tackle. That's per Vice President of Health and Safety Jeff Miller. The trend seems to be going up. Goodell said of the hip drop tackle, I think we should work to get that out of the game. And last but not least, the NFL is expanding into Brazil with a game in 2024 being hosted in Brazil. They continue to return to Germany and London. They'll have, 8 games in 2024 that will be a part of the international series?
8 plus the Jags game, actually.
8 plus a Jags game.
Because they have theirs every year.
One team did not vote for this. 31 of 32 teams voted in favor of it. The only team that did not vote for it was the Chicago Bears and owner George McCaskey, chairman of the Bears. He was the one dissenting vote. His issue was that the amendment to this rule takes the 4 home games that you can protect. It cuts it down to 2 now. So the NFL previous years had allowed you to protect 4 home games if you were the home team. Now you can only protect 2.
Interesting.
So all of your home games, essentially 7 of the 9, because it's typically the home games are going to be the team that has home team in abroad is going to have the teams that are have 9 home games. You now can have 7 the NFL can choose from instead of 5.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's why he offered the dissenting opinion and the 1 no vote. And he said, quote, George McCaskey, "We have generational talents coming in. Fans want to see Patrick Mahomes coming in. They want to see Josh Allen coming in. They want to see Jalen Hurts coming in. They want to see Tommy DeVito coming in." It's a true quote.
Is that really what he said?
It's a true quote.
That rules.
The story here says the room burst into laughter. And another quote from a source inside the meeting said, "It was the best line of the entire meeting."
I didn't know NFL owners were allowed to be funny on purpose. That's awesome.
And also, Tommy DeVito's like, hey,
what
the hell? Why am I catching a stray
What
here?
happened there?
Come on. Hey, hey, hey,
Hey.
hey.
I love that we've all just decided, hey, we're all going to be cool about this. Everybody's going to do a little bit of a stereotypical Italian thing, but it's coming from a good place.
Dude, again, one of my good friends, Bob Valvano, Jimmy V's brother, always says, he always says, why are Italians fair game?
I don't know. I don't know.
Why are we always, he's like, why? And he says it jokingly, right? He's like, why are we always fair game? Like, what? Why is it that stereotypical? Like, oh, no big deal for us, right? Like,
yeah, I
that's
don't.
great.
Listen, if Italians ever want to try to get a little board meeting together and decide it's not cool anymore, I think you'd be well within your rights. But in the meantime, Tommy DeVito, look at his agent.
Yes, he will start this weekend or else.
Oh,
okay,
man, that's awesome. Weird. It's weird that the Lions are the team. The Lions are the team historically connected to eating kneecaps. That seems like a missed opportunity.
All right, let's get into the categories here. I just wanted to get those things out there because people have talked about the fumbling through the end zone.
I think I've come full circle on that one.
The tush push and also the hip drop tackle. Those are all discussed.
I think I kind of want them to leave all 3 of those things alone. The hip drop would be great to get out. I just don't know how you're going to tackle a guy. I don't know. That one makes me nervous.
That's going to be tough. Rugby has eliminated the hip drop tackle. But if you are against eliminating it, if you think it should stay in, like J.J. Watt's very upset about them even discussing it, while rugby has eliminated it, it has sort of been a bleep show and them trying to figure out what ended up being a hip drop. Then you slow-mo and it didn't actually look like that. It looks like that in real time. Oh, wait, they didn't call it, but it was that, like, it's been an adjustment period. And so if you're saying just leave it alone, I'm all for player safety on offense because Patrick Mahomes plays offense, so I want them to not touch any offensive players. In fact, Chiefs should play with flags. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe that's, I don't know. I'm sorry, we're taking us further from sports release right
You're
now.
good.
But I wonder if that's something where they can just say, hey, this is not going to be a penalty, but we will fine you for it. Because then you at least have the benefit of we can go back and
Well, they're
look.
fining him for everything now.
That's true.
I mean,
God, the
Breece
offensive
Hall-
players, oh my
Breece Hall dipped his shoulder to take a linebacker head on. It ended up being a head on, so it was supposed to be shoulder on. But then, 2 guys going 15 miles an hour meeting at a point, $48,000 fine.
That's most of his game check, I think.
Yeah, guys are playing for free with some of these things. But
yeah, that's brutal.
You know what? And if you want to eliminate, then maybe say this is going to be reviewable. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be this is the one tackle that's reviewable because we want to make sure we know that it is specifically. We don't want to penalize somebody that did not do the grab, rotate, lift, slide into the ankles of an offensive player. I don't know, but they're discussing it. All right, categories. NFL, Chiefs, and Royal Additions.
Ooh!
We look at different players that were acquired in the offseason. The Royals signed Seth Lugo and Shohei Ohtani, so those are big additions. For the Royals paid him $3 million, which is more than the Dodgers are paying him.
Totally could have afforded that.
Look,
Wake up, John Sherman.
How cheap is John Sherman? Didn't even offer $3 million a year for Shohei Ohtani.
Come on, man.
I mean, good night.
Major leagues.
I would have led the march to the polls if you signed Ohtani for $3 million a year.
I would have paid him $3 million a year. I would have figured it out.
Ask Patrick Mahomes, your owner. I mean, come on.
Wow, yeah, no kidding.
I mean, Travis Kelce can be part of it. Taylor Swift, have her buy in. Come on, she's a Kansas City now.
Definitely can pay.
All right, so Royal Additions. These are players that were required in the offseason by the Royals. What about leisure?
We got the pun name game.
Yeah, we do.
We got the grab bag, a variety of questions from the past that haven't been asked yet. May the Drake be with you, the Drake's Star Wars questions. And you know IMDb. You know IMDb TV.
Uh-huh.
But what if I tell you about the beginning? What's that I'm hearing? Are those bells jingling in the distance? It's What Could It IMDb XMAS? Christmas movies!
Damn right.
I'm just going to read you the IMDb synopsis of a Christmas movie. If it includes a family name, I may have to edit it just a slight bit, but I'll read you a plot synopsis, and you got to tell me what movie it's from. I think these are all movies. I don't think I grabbed any TV shows. I think we're good.
That's fine. All right, I'm ready to go. Josh, you good to go?
I am so ready to ho-ho go. Dylan, are you ready to go? How you feeling?
Super duper.
Dylan should actually be feeling a little bit better because he's got help back there to answer some phones today.
I do, actually. I am feeling a little better.
Oh, that's great.
There you go. He's got some help. All right, 913-381-0810. We start off with Avery leading us off here on Sports or Leisure. Avery, what side do you want to start with?
Hey, gabagool.
See?
I'll do What Could It Xmas TV be?
Yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah, well
Josh.
said. When a weary and discouraged Santa Claus considers skipping his Christmas Eve run one year, Mrs. Claus and his elves set out to change his mind.
Oh.
Did I pick one of the harder ones because your reputation precedes you? Maybe.
Well. All right. Well, have a good week, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, Josh is so happy. Avery, hey, Josh is so happy. You've made his week. You have made his week. Avery, thank you, man. Appreciate it. 913-381-0810.
I think I'm now batting like 3 for 37 against Avery, but I'll take it.
Is that, I don't want to give away the answer, but is that the movie It's a Somewhat Enjoyable Life?
Yeah, that's exactly the one.
It.
Yeah,
I know
that's
it.
exactly.
I know it's one of our favorites.
Wait, I can't make any other jokes because I don't want to give them away.
All right, Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 913-381-0810. Charles, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
We're going to do leisure, and we're not even going to touch the Avery one.
If Avery couldn't get it, nobody can.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do grab bag.
Let's go to the grab bag. A man named Harry Stevens from Niles, Ohio, created the name for a frankfurter that he served wrapped in a roll. What did he call it?
Wrapped in a roll.
Yeah.
I think I wrote this before we talked about it with Mick at that point. But
Interesting.
I think it was a Bengals question because it's Ohio, but
Ohio.
We have Frankfurter from Germany week.
When I was your age, frankfurters cost a nickel.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, a man named Harry Stevens, that's not important, created the name for a frankfurter that he served wrapped in a roll. What did he call it?
Hot dog, right?
It's a hot dog! How about this? An extra fun fact for you here. It was said that he created the name hot dog after seeing a caricature of a frankfurter made to look like a dachshund in the New York Daily Times in the year 1904.
See, if it's wrapped, though,
I know.
A hot dog sits in it.
I know.
Wrapped is a pig in a blanket.
I know. I think it was in 1904, so I think there may have been some differences then, even in the terminology.
Okay.
I'm just here to report the facts. I agree.
Just
I think
saying.
this was... Corn dog would have been a misleading
See,
misleading answer.
I would have
there,
gone pig in a blanket because that is the frankfurter wrapped.
But I think the pig in the blanket was probably invented much later. I'm going to look into it.
No, it was invented in 1742.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, they saw a pig laying, and they put a blanket on. And like, what if we ate that?
And they were like, let's. What year did you say it was?
1748.
So yeah, they were like, let's go ahead and warm up this little piggy, and let's give it 30 years or so, and then we're revolting.
That's right. All right, on to the sports side. We've got NFL, we have Chiefs-specific questions, and we have Royal editions.
Let's do NFL.
All right, NFL for you. Let's see. Jalen Hurts, at one point this year, it's been broken, won 12 straight regular season games versus teams that entered with a winning record. Not just this year, but he had won 12 straight games in the regular season. Teams that entered with a winning record. It's tied for the longest streak in NFL history with two other quarterbacks. Name either of the quarterbacks that had 12 straight regular season games playing with a team with a winning record. Or wins, I should say.
Or what?
Just wins. 12 straight. It doesn't have to be in one season and not straight games, just 12 straight wins that they had. Can't remember who Hurts was, what it was snapped against. It's a few weeks ago. Obviously, it's been snapped a couple of times since then, since they've lost some games. But anyway.
There's two others tied?
Yeah, there's two others with 12. Jalen Hurts and a couple of other guys. Both retired. One Hall of Famer. One well-journeyed quarterback. One definite Hall of Famer. Already Hall of Famer, yeah. Josh?
American cookbooks from the 1800s have recipes for little pigs in blankets, but this is a rather different dish of oysters rolled in bacon, similar to something called angels on horseback. The modern version can be traced back to at least 1940 when a U.S. Army cookbook lists, quote, little sausage links, parentheses, pigs in blankets.
Yeah, I mean, right, because so they didn't write it down. It doesn't mean that they didn't have it. It means they didn't have it in 1748.
I think you got to fight an argument here. I'm just giving you what Wikipedia is telling me is the greatest source of knowledge in the world.
NFL Hall of Famer, one of the best that ever did it, and a journeyman.
I'm going to try Peyton Manning.
Peyton is correct. Peyton Manning and Vinny Testaverde.
No kidding.
Vinny Testaverde and Jalen. That was a tough one. So,
Vinny and the Jets.
Yes, that's right. Well done, Charles. That was a difficult one. We'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations. 913-381-0810. We go to Kevin next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. A little sports or leisure, Kevin. What side do you want to start with?
Let's go with sports.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
Let's go with the Chiefs.
All right, Chiefs for you. We go. Here we go. Man, I can't get that out of my head with damn Dak Prescott, dude. They are. He is the best quarterback in the NFL since he changed it to here we go.
That's a good point. His cadence was the problem.
It's crazy. George Karlaftis picked up his 15th career sack this weekend. That is the fifth most in Chiefs history in a player's first 2 years. Name two of the other players in the top four. 15 career sacks. Now, that would be first 2 years in the NFL that they played for the Chiefs also. So it's, rookie and second year in the NFL with the Chiefs. His 15th career sack is the fifth most. He's not far away from at least moving into the top three. But name two of the other four players in front of Karlaftis for most sacks in your first two seasons with the Chiefs as rookie and sophomore.
Okay, let's go with the obvious one, probably Derek Thomas.
He has the most with 30.
Okay.
And one more out of the other three.
I'd say Tamba Hali.
Tamba Hali is tied for third place in front of Karlaftis with 15.5. Karlaftis has 15. Wow. So here are the you want to throw a dart, Josh or Kevin, as to who the other two might be?
I'm going to keep going on the Justin Houston train. He's been in a lot of these
Justin Houston
stats.
is tied with Ali at 15.5. One more. Second place all time.
Throw another dart for us.
Jerry Mays.
Jared Allen. So close.
Oh, okay.
Derek Thomas, 30. Jared Allen, 20.
Yeah.
Tamba Ali and Justin Houston tied with 15.5. Karlaftis, 15. One more sack for Karlaftis. He moves into third all-time for Chiefs sacks in the first 2 years with the team.
That's wild.
As starting your career with the Chiefs. That is the sports, right? We got leisure?
Yes, leisure
right,
side.
great.
What would you like?
Go, Kevin.
Let's go with grab bag.
Let's go to the grab bag. I could crush some pigs in a blanket right now. What's the term for a female horse under the age of 4 years?
Gosh. I'll say a foal.
You fool.
I'm so sorry. I thought that was gonna be an achievable one there. I thought Jason was gonna make fun of me for asking that question. If I'm being completely honest.
No, not at all.
That was still out
make
there.
Fun of you.
You would never make fun of me.
Not at all.
Never.
Kevin, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. Well done on the Derek Thomas, Tom Ali, and then Jared Allen and Justin Houston from Josh. 913-381-810-810. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, continue playing some sports or leisure. 913-381-810-810 to play some sports or leisure. Presented by Johnny's Tavern. We continue with more right after this on a Thursday.
Rasheed Rice.
Number 5. And he will be close to number 1 when the season's over.
He's number 5 right now.
He's number 5 right now.
I think I know one of them is Dwayne Bowe.
He's number 1, actually. So
Yeah.
one of the other, either 2, 3, or 4.
I was a big Dwayne Bowe fan.
As a lot of people were.
I still am.
Yeah. 100.
I really have no idea on the other one. Any of the other ones.
Well, I'll tell you, one of them was a Pro Bowler his rookie year. Right, Josh?
Yeah, I remember. I know the reference.
In fact, I should say that, Rasheed Rice is now 4th, I think. Let me look it up because of the... doesn't matter. I'm still looking for a couple people in the top 5.
So it's not Tyreek. I don't think it's Tyreek. Yeah, it's not Tyreek.
Whatever. If you don't think it is, so that's fine. It's up to you whether you think it is or not. What do you say? Throw a dart. Here we go. What do you say?
I think I should go back a little bit. I really like this other guy, too, and he had a pretty good rookie season. Was it Sylvester Morris?
It was Sylvester Morris!
Oh, thank God. I really thought it was.
Yeah. Hell yeah!
Sylvester Morris. So the top 5, because now actually Rasheed Rice is 4th.
Okay. Climbing up.
After this last week. I should have noted that. But Dwayne Bowe, number 1. Chris Burford, number 2. Sylvester Morris, 3.
Burford. I didn't know
Now Rasheed Rice, but Tyreek Hill. So he passed Tyreek Hill. So you were right about Tyreek Hill.
He was a Pro
He was a
Bowler.
Pro Bowler. As a returner. As a returner. Pro Bowl as a returner. All right, on to Leisure with Josh.
What category would you like? We've got a couple questions out there. We got the horse one out there, one of the Christmas ones out there, or you can request a new one or a different category.
I have no idea.
All right.
On the Christmas movie. So, but I do think I know the female horse under 4 years is called a filly.
That's absolutely right.
Yes, that's right. The filly, the Oaks on a Friday, day before the Derby. Friday before the Derby is the Oaks. It's the Derby for the fillies.
And you can watch that at Johnny's Tavern.
You can absolutely do that. That's right. Well done, Sean. $25, Johnny's Tavern, heading your way. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. There you go. How about that? He got the Phillies and Sylvester Morris. So, congratulations. Let's go to Ronnie next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Ronnie, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with, bud?
Ronnie. Ronald.
Ronnie.
Ron. Roro.
Come on.
Donald.
Ronnie. Is he on mute?
President Reagan.
Do we have the phone on our side? Okay, we're good
Mr.
there.
McDonald.
Here we go.
I'm running out of other Ronalds. Not a super common name.
Ronnie. Dangerfield. Go.
That's good.
We'll put him back on hold. Close. The biggest question there was sports or leisure. He couldn't. It's like, oh, sorry, we were looking for sports on that one. Let's go to Andrew next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Andrew, sports or leisure?
Let's go IMDb.
Do you want the one that's out there or a new one?
I didn't hear the one that was out there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Just
I'll
give
read
me
it.
another one.
I'd love for somebody else to clean it up.
That's fine.
I'll just do a new. I'll just do a new one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that movie that was out there.
A successful song and dance team become romantically involved with a sister act and team up to save the failing Vermont Inn of their former commanding general. I'll tell you a freebie right now. This is starring Bing Crosby. So you can go ahead and adjust your eras accordingly.
Okay. The only thing I can think of with Bing Crosby was White Christmas.
Hey,
the only thing I can think of is giving you a ding-ding.
That is right. He got you a ding-ding, Andrew. All right, on to the sports side, sir. We've got NFL, we've got Chiefs, we've got Royal Editions.
Let's do Chiefs.
Chiefs for you? Okay, so there is one more left in Chiefs. Travis Kelce is now tied with Tony Gonzalez. Exactly. Tied with Tony Gonzalez for the most first down receptions in a Chiefs career with 597 receptions that were first down. He and Tony G, 597 apiece, first all time. Name two of the other three players in the top five of Chiefs history.
Wow.
First down receptions. Let me tell you, they are both more than 200 away from third place. So it ain't exactly like third place is nipping at the heels. It's Kelsey, Gonzalez, a pretty decent gap, and then 3, 4, 5.
Wow. Got to be somebody with some decent longevity.
I probably should have planned these questions differently. I should have asked one of the other ones in between the 2 wide receiver ones or tight end ones. Yeah, but whatever.
Really talking about pass catchers.
Yeah, that's true. But I could have mixed in the Karlaftis one between the two. I didn't have to go Karlaftis first, but I like that one.
That's true.
He's only a half sack away from being third all time.
I could have done a more modern Christmas movie between my 2 older Christmas movie questions, and I could.
You're an old soul.
That's what I'm. I haven't even done the black and white ones.
That's right. What do you think? Receivers, first down receptions.
First down receptions. I mean,
how many is he need? 2 of them?
Yeah.
Let's say Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4th all time. So there's one in front of him and one behind him. Yeah. No, I agree. I just go ahead and say it. Come on.
Eddie Kennison. Oh my God!
Done.
Wow.
Nice. Look at you, Eddie Kennison, 5th.
Wow.
I remember the spin move, but he'd catch and then he'd spin.
Yeah, wow. How about that? You putting something on the ass.
Wow.
Well done, Eddie. Number 3 all time is Dwayne Bowe.
Let's go. That's what I was hoping.
Okay.
Kelsey, you got all 5. Kelsey Gonzalez, Dwayne Bowe at 367, so 230 shy of Kelsey and Tony G. Tyreek and then Eddie Kennison. Nice job. Andrew, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, man. Well done.
Thank you.
That was nice.
Tyreek Hill, Eddie Kennison, and Dwayne Bowe. What a trio of wide receivers, man.
Man, that's well done. I've if he wasn't going to go Dwayne Bowe, like he went Eddie Kennison. Nice job. Let's go do Craig next up on Sports Radio 810. Craig, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's go with leisure, and I'd like the year without a Santa Claus question.
Let's go!
Hold on, you want a year without Santa Claus? What the heck?
What's wrong with you're getting cold?
Craig,
but maybe $25 at Johnny's Tavern if you get the sports side.
Yeah, you can buy something that looks like coal or not. I don't know.
I guess you could ask them to just leave the pizza in for a full day. They won't do that unless you ask them to, but they might if you ask nicely. I don't know.
When we do hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill, just random summer stuff, and my mom's over, I have to take the hot dogs off and then leave one on and just turn it up and let it become just charred. And then that's, for whatever reason, what she eats. My dad would eat frozen hot dogs, and my mom wants the hot dogs turned to ash when she actually eats. It's weird.
Hold on.
Opposites attract.
Hold on, Jason. I'm sorry. Hold on. Frozen hot dogs, you mean hot dogs just straight
cold.
out of the...
Cold hot dogs, not frozen hot dogs.
That's,
cold hot
okay,
dogs. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I asked because I care.
Thank you. Yeah.
And that's
he would just gnaw on it just to sharpen his teeth is what he would do.
He's like a dog.
On to sports side, Greg. We got Chiefs, we got NFL, we got Royal Editions.
I bet dogs would love that.
Actually, you know what? No more
let's
Chiefs.
go Chiefs.
No more Chiefs. I apologize. That was the last one. I'm sorry, man. I just looked at him oh, wait, we're out of Chiefs. We've exhausted those questions. I'll come up with more next week.
This is the segment
How
without
about
a Chiefs question.
NFL then?
All right, NFL for you. Okay, well, it starts with a Chiefs guy. Travis Kelce now has 8 straight seasons with 80 or more receptions. 8 straight years. It's tied with 3 other players for the most consecutive years with 80 or more receptions. Name any of the other 3. 8 straight seasons with 80 or more receptions. By the way, he's the only tight end on this list of the 4 that are tied.
Copy. 80 or more. Let's go with, it's 8 seasons?
8 straight years. Success, health, longevity, historical ability.
Marvin Harrison.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, Marvin Harrison is one of the 3. I made it easy. I thought people would just go Jerry Rice.
I just went to Jerry Rice's page to see if he did it in separate stands at any point.
No, he did it 8 straight years. Torrey Holt, Marvin Harrison, Jerry Rice, and Travis Kelce are the answers there. And that is a gift card to Johnny's Tavern.
A year with a Santa, I guess.
That's exactly right. Greg, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Nice
Thank
job. All right, let's sneak in at least 1, maybe 2 more. Let's go to Carson. Next up, sports or leisure. Carson, what side do you want to start with?
Let's do leisure.
What category?
Let's do IMDb. Do you sell one of those?
I sure do. In the 1940s, a young boy named Ralphie attempts to convince his parents, teacher, and Santa Claus that a Red Ryder Range 200-shot BB gun really is the perfect Christmas gift.
Layup.
That'd be a Christmas story.
That would be a Christmas story. I really gave the difficult ones right off the top, and so that a lot more of them are ones you definitely know.
All right, on to the sports. On to the sports side, NFL and Royal additions.
Name every player on the 1982 Royals, just to offset how easy this one was.
Right, yeah, that's makes total sense. What are you thinking, NFL or Royal additions?
Let's do Royal edition.
Oh, awesome! Thank you for that. You know what? Let's go with maybe the let's go with the easiest one. At least I think. Who knows? Dayton Moore took over for Allard Baird in 2006. Part of taking the job was an assurance that he'd be able to spend some money. After being linked with many different players, who did Dayton Moore go out and sign to a big splash in the offseason after the 2006 season, heading into 2007? Highest contract in Royals history. Largest contract in Royals history.
Oh, man. Let's go.
He was big.
Frankie.
He was Big Game James before Big Game James for this Royals team. What are you thinking? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer.
I
didn't hear James.
James.
I mean, he was the James Shields type player before James Shields. He just wasn't a guy to take him to the next level. He was a guy to just make him look more professional out on the field.
Man, I'm blanking. I don't know.
Darn it. Carson, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it. I think we have time for maybe one more, just very quick. One more, very quick, very quick. Shane, go. Sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Leisure.
What category?
Christmas, go.
A family's plans for a big Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster.
Plan for a big Christmas.
Disaster. A family's plans for a big family Christmas predictably turn into a big disaster. Don't overthink it.
Home Alone.
A lot of illumination.
You know what? Close enough.
Oh, Jesus. All right, sports, Shane.
Technically, that's probably also true.
Yes,
Give me the Royals. It was Christmas vacation.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. What's the Royals question?
What?
Do you know the answer to it? You said, give me the Royals?
Royals, I don't. Oh, Gilgamesh.
There you go. Well done. Gilgamesh is right. Shane will put you on hold. Congratulations. Let me see if I got any questions out there that I did not get answers to. I don't think I do.
We have another segment,
Even
Jason.
if we do, I'll do it next.
We have another segment. Hey, little Royals news for you, Jason.
They signed Gil Mesh.
Taylor Clark to the Brewers.
Okay.
That was a few minutes ago. Clearing up a spot for Seth Lugo.
Go ahead and mark him off my list of guys in the bullpen. Just looking at potential roster, like what the bullpen looks like, what the starting staff looks like, what the, position players look like. Go ahead and eliminate Taylor Clark from the spreadsheet. Good to know.
No return yet as far as this article in Royals Review of the original report from Robert Murray.
I hope he gets there safe because you got to worry about him getting hit around.
You just hope he can keep everything down while he gets there,
Yeah, well, that's us throwing up when we're watching at times. Keeping everything down.
Oh, baseball. How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Come on. Gil Mesh got things rolling for this team. And then was it Trey Hillman that left him in there to throw 150 pitches? Gil Mesh, because he wanted a complete game shutout. Not even a no-hitter. A complete game shutout. It was like 140 pitches. And he's like, no, it meant something. And then it's like, yeah. The guy who's been really injured and you were able to sign him because everybody else was scared of his arm falling off. Yeah, thank God you got the complete game shutout for that guy. Shocker that the injuries sparked very quickly after that. I don't know. Maybe there's a correlation causation with the whole, pitcher abuse points that Randy Gisarelli invented and all that stuff. I don't know. Probably not, though. It's maybe just random. I'm not really sure. Program next.